every day, but only the top 5 make it on. So make sure to have your friends in the chat vote your way. This is the triple Qs. We're up about 1 1/5. We are a bit higher on the NQ September contract. The ES also in green, but a little bit below, about 0.8 right now, 0.4%. The best though, the Russell, as that rotation trade continues to manifest, up 1 2/3 with the Dow not lagging far behind there, 1.5 to 1 1/3. Good look for them. Nvidia, the #1 name as selected by you guys. No real surprise there. Down 4% off that big move yesterday, or the earnings report. And there's a whole lot of analyst notes on this. I'm not even going to bother showing them to you, but yeah, this was an interesting trade yesterday. Today, though, bit of a consolidative look, at least in the afternoon, guys.
I mean, looking at the rundown, AO, SoFi. We'll get to SoFi in a hot minute. You know the market's hot when SoFi is hot.
It is not.
Well, it's actually it's having a decent day. It's not the greatest day in the world for Nvidia, but reality is, you know, we had Ryan Falloon on, and he basically said this exact type of setup for what happens on an earnings play. So aftermarket, if you were there, it was a lot of viewers. It was fantastic back and forth action on Nvidia. But the long and short of it was, after the wild up and down, wow, is it gonna break 120 right now? So 120 was a big level in the aftermarket. Then this 123 and change. You had buyers stacking every even dollar bid, and all we got was an inside day off of those levels. So holding 120, holding 123. If 120 goes, I think Nvidia is going to roll to the downside if it loses this 120 level. It's all about that margin miss, I suppose. That's the explanation everyone's going to give you, because everything about that earnings was fantastic, from the buyback to the beat to the blah, 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 making tons of money. Everything was good except for a slight downtick in the guidance. So 120 is your key price level. It's testing it as we speak. I'm only in Apple right now off of VWAP, but Nvidia, I'm not as bullish when you're lower highs into a potential flat bottom here, Nvidia.
We are hitting profile. Yeah, there it is. All right. So today we're all over Nvidia. So Nvidia, we knew we liked that 120 long. So there it is. We hit it a couple times, and it turned out just to be a great trade. It's one of, I think it's P&L. Yeah, P&L 2 or 3, I guess, because Tesla's going to be, it'll be Apple, Tesla, Nvidia right there. There's 120 a couple times. The only mistake we made, and we were able to get some out, but it just happened to be that we had to average into it, was that little break of 124. We had written down here on the sticky note 124. So when it took it that quickly, we wanted it, but we already were long down here at 120. So 120 long, 120 long. That out there is 122. I mean, it's been good. We've left it alone here in the afternoon. It's trying to break back down below. I said on the midday we are getting out of some of these shares, so we got out of some of these shares. We got out of some Apple shares as well in their own personal account. Great day for Nvidia. I think it probably goes higher. Down 4% though. I'll take it. I mean, I don't know. NASDAQ up 1% today. I don't think I thought it was going to be a bullish day. I don't think, many people obviously coming in today were pretty nervous about Nvidia. So I feel that it's held up pretty good, and we'll take profits where profit lies. We'll still sit here and trade some Nvidia. We're roughly, we didn't do too much over the midday. So we're kind of still in that same pocket here. So we'll just hang out and see if we can make something happen if levels break. So for me, Nvidia short, I think, is the next call. That's 119.25 if we want to do it. So I think being patient, waiting for that is probably the right play.
Off the highs is the SPY. It was up almost 1%. The high now coming down to about 2/3%. It is lagging the other major indexes, the NQ, the Dow, and the Russell, all a little bit higher today than the ES. This is the 15-minute look, and I'll let the big kahunas look at this, but this looks like it's a head and shoulders setting up here on the 15 on the SPY. We'll have to wait to see that, but it's been a strong day. No question about it on these markets, guys.
Yeah, I mean, whether you want to call it a head and shoulder, it's like effectively what happened is we went into the week high and pull back on the SPY. So there's your 15-minute. You went into the week high, you pulled back. The previous resistance was support, and the previous resistance is still resistance. So you're having a somewhat inside day. It's kind of hard for it to get going unless, look, Apple's at VWAP. That Alphabet news just hit as well with new ChatGPT, OpenAI funding, Apple joining. That put Google to the downside. And with Nvidia underneath, it's been trouble for this, although bouncing off VWAP is looking pretty good here. It's just that top end of the range is big resistance. The market's at top here. And we know where we're at in the overall market, so let's respect it. So you're not going to necessarily have these big blowouts through fresh highs because you need something special to get us through the top, I think, in the markets. There's just way too much profit taking, people feeling tepid about things. You even got a good GDP number. So like that whole, like what are we supposed to do with the narrative of the recession when you get that 3% GDP number and when that's beating expectations? I take that with a grain of salt because in an election year, when it seems like numbers are better than they should be, I feel like you should take it with a grain of salt.
We had written down here today, TQQ. We've been really on a hot streak with this. Continues to go up, man. We broke 68s. That was the level we wanted. We hit it once, twice. Then we just reloaded it right now back at VWAP. So we're doing this is putting it. We talk about this. This is called in the wild. Trading things actively, aggressively, giving you guys some of these ideas. So there it is again, 68.30 all the way up to 68.90, straight up right there. Falls back in. We take another piece out. We're going to wait to see if it breaks that bottom. But right now, we're going to stay long. I'm not in love with this play. Playing it because of technicals. We've made good money doing this, so we'll just continue with it. Right now, the TQQs. We'll see if it breaks down below there. That's 67.70. We're not giving it that long. I was going to give it to 68.10. So a break down below here, we'll get out of the way. But just adding it up, man. What we're doing right now, probably this afternoon, is adding to this stuff. This has been the biggest day for me in a very long time. So we'll just continue to wait, be patient, hit trades when they're coming through. Nvidia at 120 is something right now. Just waiting to see if these futures really do hold VWAP. If they do, then maybe we have a nice little run here into the afternoon.
Yeah, speaking of those futures at all-time highs, hey, when you're at all-time highs, if you've taken anything out and you're looking to maximize your idle cash, then Moomoo's for you Canadian users. Enjoy 6% per annual on cash balances of up to $10K for 60 days, along with a 2-month commissions free. You can also earn $2,300 in cash rewards when you transfer your portfolio. Both rewards can be enjoyed at the same time. With Moomoo, you'll gain access to comprehensive data on stocks, options, and ETFs. Plus, take advantage of algo trading. Allow you to create, backtest, and execute your own strategies. Set up instant alerts to trade your own signals, helping you to take your trading game to the next level. Thanks, and shout out to Moomoo for sponsoring this section of the show. And you know what? If you're a VWAP trader, you probably put that in there, those dips, whatever you like. But Apple's trying to lose VWAP. If we break this lower high, I'm jumping out of this. This market seems like it wants to turn Nvidia might be dragging it down. AMD I want to get to for some shorts. But Sharif, let's talk a little bit about SMCI.
We should, Neil. SMCI, obviously, bit of a tougher couple of days. We get wind yesterday that obviously they're delaying their annual report for the June quarter. That had the market selling this off very aggressively. It did hold 400. Prior to that, we had the Hindenburg hit piece that basically made accounting irregularity allegations. One of their competitors reported yesterday, HPE. They were down. Dell reports today after the bell. Make sure to catch that with the guys on the Market Recap show. But this is almost $60 off that low yesterday, guys.
What a bounce it is. It's obviously short sell restricted because multiple days down double digits, including yesterday's action for SMCI. Now, you can come in there and thinking, I had SSR bounce, look for 420, and that's sort of an obvious level. If you looked at the aftermarket, you had support at 420 in the afternoon, and the aftermarket it bounced off 420. So that was kind of low-hanging fruit if we could have got it. It just never happened. It was just an instant breakout at the open, and if you were looking long, I needed some kind of an uptrend to get into. If you were in the middle of the morning, right before we ended, I was like, okay, I'm going to start looking longs off of VWAP in here. First one didn't go, and then you see it managed to hold above VWAP, make the next breakout. So I got this one. We're in at like 55.8 or 55.7, something along those lines, and then we're able to get ticked out in front of 458 here. Then it pulls back, stops out underneath the previous high. I'm sitting there. Randy's actually next to me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, okay, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm going to get up. He's like, yeah, just go right away. I'm like, yeah, this might bounce off VWAP. I know it can consolidate for a long time. There was your wick, and there was your entry. So it was 450 after all. Just managed to miss it Didn't get back into the trade. I don't mind taking 3 swings at it. Certainly off of VWAP would have made sense. I actually think it might be risk to the downside if we lose 450. The way the market's going, the way Nvidia is going, I mean, maybe you bounce off the 450 level, but I'm not feeling as bullish as before. Like you spent all lunchtime with everything trying to take those tops, and it just couldn't break through those highs. So I'm a little bit concerned that we're going to lose this. And 450 goes, I mean, who knows with SMCI. It's going to be an interesting report for Marvell, I think, tonight. I know we're not talking about Marvell, we're talking about SMCI, but stick around for the aftermarket show because, you know, expectations obviously have been high for Nvidia. You saw them go down regardless. Marvell has been in a chop zone here, just hanging on to the 200 period by a thread. And the last time it lost the 200 period moving average, I mean, it essentially fell 20% in a couple of sessions. So I think there's a lot of risk in this chip name if we lose the bid here.
So you just saw there, market going down, I guess, out of Apple. We're about to get out here of the TQQs as these names continue to go to the downside. Look, yesterday we took that $10 on SMCI and we haven't looked at it today. So I'm just right now, we're about to get out of these TQs. If they break, I told you 68.10, then we will get out of this one. Still going to be a positive name. We've traded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names. No, yeah, 5 names today. Same 5. And they've all been treating us well. But this could be the last straw here as we have a little bit more. We'll see if it breaks. And here it goes. I don't want to give it too much lower. I just don't want to give it down here. Because if I get to 68, then I'll hold it and then I'll make that decision. So we can always get back in if something does break. We're long at 68.30. We could take 20 cents if we have to take a hit on this one. But right now it's the market is to that downside as we go. So maybe some GameStop there. And just because I was just mentioning it, I know there was a name Apple that we were thinking about getting into. I'm not into this one yet. We'll still wait for that 230 or so level if that does come into play. It's 212 right now and it's GameStop time.
Shout you up for the fresh cut, Sean, looking good there. All right, yeah, GME next. Big mover midday. It was moving prior to that. A couple of headlines to support the move here. Shares are trading higher. The company issued a notice to terminate its $250 million credit facility. Apparently, they're going to look to dip into their own cash reserves, pay this down, I guess. Kind of confusing with interest rates looking to be a little bit lower on the horizon. But there's also this area as well. They're looking at getting into some retro gaming to refit some of their stores so you can actually engage in gaming. Good luck, market liking it, but pulling off a little bit off the highs.
I always get the love there. Thank you, Sharif, for that. Thanks for noticing the haircut. Okay, so we'll just quickly here, we'll go over and discuss GameStop. I haven't looked at it. We will look at this right here, TQs. We just got some out there at 26s. We got out at 20%. We were very close to getting stopped out. So we'll take away some of that pain on that play and now almost get stopped out again. I'm not waiting for anything until the 30s. We want to take some profit. But right now, just want to give you guys an update on that one. We had Raider Trader come on and talk about volatility and GameStop and AMC and all that possibly starting to pick up again. And man, I guess he's right again. He wasn't on GameStop. It was going to be AMC.
It was AMC,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, but there goes, I haven't even looked at AMC, I guess, but there goes GameStop today, up 11%. I'll throw it back to you. Like I said, I've been lazy on this. I have no idea what the story is.
Hold on a second. I wanted to check AMC just to make sure. You want to know if they're going in tandem, and I remember AMC had that long consolidation it's trying to break out of. Looks like it's not breaking yet, but there is a bit of a sympathy move. Heck, if GameStop goes higher, $5 looks interesting on AMC. As far as GameStop goes, I didn't see any news. There might be, but I didn't see anything in particular. And there's just no follow through. So it goes right back, a nice V-shaped recovery to when this started to fall apart in 26. That's on Monday, essentially. It fell off 22.30. What needs to, I don't have to tell you guys what needs to happen. I mean, come on. Look at how this stock has been moving or not moving in this range. This local high that it can't break is about 23.25. You got the 50 period, which is just converging at 23.5. You just need to take the top off somewhere. And that's what can't happen. Like every up move cannot seem to take off the top in GameStop. They're just sellers are there en masse at all the consolidation levels. That's what happened when it tried to break out back in July. It just went into the chop and it's been going down ever since. This looks like a start of something nice. There's no question about it. But until you take the top off, I don't get excited about squeeze names until they break out resistance levels. It's nice to get back to one, but short sellers aren't scared when you go into prior resistance. A lot of times they just load up again and look for it to head back down. And as long as that's been working, they just kind of keep doing the same thing, and they rinse and repeat because they can hang on to it forever. You know, when you got a couple billy out there, you can lean on a stock like this, and they know they can win for a long time. And you know, you see that happen. I'd love for this to break out. I'd love for AMC to break out because we have a heck of a lot of fun trading into the long trade. There's not as much to do with this when it's like that. You know, it's got to break 23.5. I don't know if that's going to be today. You're already starting to pull back. Maybe there's a VWAP trade in here later on in the session. Let's see where it tries to fold back into, see if the volume holds up on this, and it's a nothing burger over in AMC. Would be nice for those to get going. Unfortunately, they aren't.
Yeah, I just went short on SIGA here. I just heard like that apparently MPOX is not really a thing. So we're going to wait to see what happens here on that. We'll just take a shot to see if anything winds up happening on this trade. So we'll go short now. Right here. Okay, so the TQs, we did get stopped out there, so we'll slip a little bit of a flush down on that as it goes right to our level. This is 68 again. I mean, we've gone long on 68, but now it's a completely different story. Every time before that we've gone long on this name, we've had VWAP and all the lines with us. Now it's, we're underneath all of these lines. So we tried it, then we dropped out. So that would be, at the end of the day, a little bit of a hit there, but still a hit. So a hit is a hit is a hit, and that is a hit. So right there, downside on the TQQs. Still remain positive, man. We're positive on everything here today, and hopefully getting a little bit more positive on SIGA if that does go down. And that was there. Oh, here it is right here.
There's 5 lines. I think you summed up pretty well.
Yeah, it just says here, CDC says Mpox outbreak originating in Central Africa. Risk of Mpox coming into U.S. is low. No cases of Mpox have been reported in the U.S. at this time. Blah, 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 blah. So there was that other one there, GovX.
That was the other one.
Was another one. So I could have picked that. SIGA, obviously, and GovX, both
they're really
not affected by this news whatsoever. So we'll sit here and wait to see if this is a late story or a nothing burger. Our stop is breaking 950 on SIGA. So we'll see 20 cents one way or the other. Let's see if anything goes with it. So that's what we're short right now, SIGA.
This could be a big story here for SoFi. We've been waiting for this. So the Supreme Court chiming in today, declining to revive the Biden administration's student debt relief plan. We know that SoFi, one of their moats is to basically refi student loans at a much lower interest rate than they were issued by the banks or the lending institution. This is, though, a bit of a bamboozler because we've seen the Biden administration come out in a different way and give relief to student loan borrowers through different avenues. This particular decision narrows or closes the door for one avenue, doesn't preclude them from coming at it a different way. Nonetheless, the market liking it, SoFi at highs.
One knows.
I'm just going to ask the viewers this because a lot of our viewers are American. I'm not going to pretend to keep up with American politics as much as I should. Does Kamala support the student debt relief as strongly as Biden? Like, that would be an interesting thing to know. The current administration obviously wants to try to push it through, and whether or not that's happening it actually matters here. But you guys can let me know in the chat or any way you want. Tweet at me if you have a long-winded explanation. So SoFi, yay, let's go. 10% to the upside. SoFi is above $8. SoFi is trying to break out of this zone here. It's not done yet because the last time we were here, it did the worst of its rejections of the $8 level. So I think I said this the last time we called up this chart, which is give me 850. Break 850, and this one's going to go. Now, it's already a great and fantastic start to be above the 200-period moving average, holding the 200 today. Like, that's golden. I mean, right at the open, it's like a hold of the 200-period moving average on that daily chart, and then just all green, breaking it out. I wish I could tell you I was looking at this at the open. Eyeballs were in, obviously, other places. I think that should go without saying, everybody, but good look here for SoFi. 850, I think, is a bit of a resistance spot if you're trading it right now. That was that level on the daily chart. So maybe some dip buying if it wants to continue said trend to the upside. Go SoFi. If it fails 850 again, I'm going to seriously consider whether I need to be in this stock.
All right. So
in my PA, by the way.
Yeah, so SIGA is trying to come in a little bit here. Just printed 19s. I'm going to sit at 19 and take it if it comes through a little bit, just to take 10 cents on a piece of it. I mean, our target eventually was going to be 950, which was up here. I don't know. I mean, the high of the day is basically 948, 947. Well, here you can see right here, 947. So if we do fall back in, let's see a little bit of a wipe down. And then I was bidding, again, you know, this is the low of the day. So if that can come in, we'll take that quickly. But after that, I mean, down into here, that's 9. And then after that is 890. Like, I'm not expecting a huge move. It obviously is appearing to be a nothing burger on that side of things. But we'll still be in the short. I mean, you know, we're taking 10 cents here, taking 10 cents there. So that's what we're doing on that one. All right, so again, it looks like we did a good move getting out of the NASDAQ right there as it's trying to go lower. So we're underneath VWAP. We've completely flipped up the script here on this trade. We are no longer going to be going short, long on the NASDAQ until something changes. Either we break back above the 50 period or that's about it, honestly. Like, if we can get something into 67, we looked at 67 yesterday. That was a big trade for us yesterday as we shorted through there. And of course, that worked out. But today's a different day. We're at the highs, like where we've been at today for ourselves. So we'll probably just keep it the way it is right now and look for more opportunities. We actually went in there during the midday. We got our matcha here, Ramin, by the way. And now we're going to go back and we sold some Starbucks today in our account. Just because I sold some Nike, we talked about that yesterday. It's just been such huge moves up. Yesterday, we had a great move up to 98. We actually showed you the weekly chart on Starbucks, and it goes all the way back to 2020. Might even be able to get it on a daily chart, where you had $100 again. And look, you can always go back and find any level you want on pretty much on any chart, it seems like, especially one that's this choppy, but it comes back anyways. It's just a big move upside there, and I thought we were coming into some sort of an area of resistance. There it is right there, sorry, 2022, right into there. So I kind of like that play. Back in, there was the drop. Huge move on new CEO. We had the blowout top kind of yesterday, right into those levels. So we took advantage of some of that on Starbucks during the midday, and I think we did okay. Where is that, 12:30? Yeah, so probably right about here. And it was just a fluke. I just went in there. I think it was 95.13s to be exact where we got out. So actually, that's right where it is now. So, okay, good. So that's that trade. And then Nike, I said we got some out. Although my daughter, I talked to her during lunchtime. She said, thank you for the Air Force Ones. And I said, no problem. It's a good shoe there. She's going back to school. So they went to the Nike store in Sherway. So that's good. Good for the stock. But I sold some yesterday, not today. So there it is. And again, just Nike has done really well off the bottom. Yeah. I'm a little bit nervous, man. We've got Hookah on holdings there. More competition in the space for Nike. And yeah, I'm really happy with that move back up. We bought both Starbucks and Nike with 7 handles on them. So to get out in the 9s and in the 8s here, we'll do pretty good and do that and then raise some capital because I don't know. I told you I sold some Apple right up there. We sold some Nvidia 122 during the midday. I don't know. Just things are getting pretty good. Might regret it. Tomorrow it could be up 5% again, which is fine. But it happens. Getting into some cash.
Every time I sell, I feel the same way. It is what it is. You take profit. I mean, every time I sold Lily, it was like, oh, look at that. These new fresh highs, but you got to rebalance sometimes. And WTO is rebalancing itself a little bit. Good move off the upside. I'm going to do this. I showed Randy this as well. He's like, what the heck happened to this stock? Destruction is what happened. So keep in mind, if you're trading this WTO, big move off the bottom. It was actually almost exactly a double bottom, and it's really starting to trend back up. It hasn't halted at all today, so keep in mind when it's a penny stock, it has to move more than a regular stock, percentage-wise for halt. So it's an extreme moves. Like these halt moves, that's $1.10 to 53. Like it's cut in half, and it halted only twice when it got cut in half. So understand that's going to be the case here with it. And you're running into there's going to be levels all over the place. The most significant one is at about 25 cents, right in around midday. This tried to bounce. It bounced off 16 to get to 25 cents. So if you're watching this, I have eyeballs at that 25-cent level. Is a big one. Absolutely woodshedded yesterday. Let's be real. So be careful trading. Like I said, it could halt, but the halt bands are going to be much wider when you're dealing with a penny stock. So Nvidia did try to get underneath 120. It's right back at it. Seems like it still wants to hold on for dear life. This local bottom is 119.23. So it has some room to go to the low of the day, but you're still underneath that support. I'm looking for a continuation of the trend that's starting to set in. Like, there is your resistance. There's your lower high. If this lower high comes in holding that trend, I want to look short into the low of the day on this name. I would have said AMD, but I might have missed the chance at AMD off of VWAP, so it'll have to set something else up on advanced micro devices unless it bounces back into VWAP. I was shorting VWAP most of lunch, and then it broke VWAP. Things were looking pretty strong in that moment. All of a sudden, you've got a bit of a reversal here in the markets and the chip names. We're not falling apart. We're holding on some gains. I think you want to be patient. I like a VWAP retrace here and trading off VWAP on AMD most of the day.
So we talked a little bit this morning. Mara coming in. Bitcoin's cracking right now, back down below 60,000 again. So we're still short SIGA, but that's the only trade. I'm going to try a little bit here, I guess, on Mara. I don't know if we want to punch in or not at that 44 level. Oh, there it is. Okay, well, we get some 41s and 43s. So average price right now, 42. Long right now on Mara as Bitcoin comes in right now, 59.8. So again, Mara just into some of these levels. We can zoom out again or just look at this from right here. So we're at 1740. We're not in this a lot right now, but that 1720 is there, 1710. Whenever this stops loading. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to talk about here is 17. So if this comes in a little bit more, let's have a look here at 1720 or so, and then maybe just get out of, if we break through 17 again, that's going to go down to yesterday's sort of movement. Yesterday was the 28th, right? So right into there, those levels from yesterday. So we'll wait to see what's happening with Mara right now, long at 42s. Just a position, see if there's a risk to the downside here for sure with crypto going lower. So we can have a quick look to see what exactly BTC is doing here. And there it is right now. Ooh, that's bouncing right now, actually, 59.5. That's an anchored VWAP that we had from before. 15 looks like it bounced again. I believe that's anchored VWAP anyways. Down there, if I click on it, it should tell me, right?
Yeah. Hover on it.
I don't know, that's what I was... trying to. Anyways, I'll figure out what that is. But anyways, 59.5 bouncing right now off of that level, back up to 59.8. So maybe we're a little early on this Mara, maybe worth another retest back down in. But there it is, 59.57, a nice drop. We just dropped basically $1,000 in 15 minutes or so on Bitcoin. So we'll try Mara down here. Don't mind these levels against 17. It is a bit early, but we are just whoopsies. We are right back into, again, these levels for Bitcoin where Mara has protected before. So let's just see basically yesterday's close.
Yeah, and those close prices matter, man. Where does that late money feel comfortable being? Obviously it's going to make a big difference. I already said AMD, and then Nvidia is still trying to decide what it's doing at this 120 level. But I just popped up a usual suspect that made a rejection. It's kind of a trend reversal here on Rivian. So we like close prices. This close in here on Rivian, I mean, it's a lower high. It's 14.5. That's 14.5. It's failing 14.5 yesterday. Same top that it just put in. So it looks like a trend reversal is starting to accelerate here on Rivian off the 14.5 into VWAP. I'm going to try and, might have been a little bit too late to this one. Why is that on DME? Because I just flipped to it. And for some reason, I was going to go to that. That's why. So yeah, that 14.5, going to look to get on the offer here. Now you're starting to accelerate to the downside on Nvidia. Oh yeah, Nvidia is going to push exactly at the moment and drag everything to the downside with it. I might miss this one on Rivian, but acceleration is starting to come in. Yeah. Nvidia is going... oh, wait a minute. Tesla's about to break 209. All right, Tesla's breaking support here at 209. I know, because I was short 210 when it bounced off 209 the first time. Thank you very much, Tesla, for not following through. I don't want to chase and punch the bottom of this, but we just missed a chance to get into Rivian. So I have to maybe short a pop. I'm on the offer of Rivian at 45. We'll see if we get picked up on that one. Or maybe just go on over to Nvidia, which could break 119 as we speak. And I like both these levels here. Let's pull back into 210 on that. GameStop already into VWAP. And then Rivian, I'm probably not going to get that offer. We'll have to stick a fork in that. Like the second I put the offer in, it dropped. And that was because it had nothing to do with offering on Rivian. It had everything to do with the fact that the market just kind of like made a flush down and everything dropped at the same moment. It's happenstance. 119 about to break here on Nvidia. If that happens before we can get a short the pop situation, then so be it.
Yeah, it looks like 119 coming in right now. So we're still in that Mara. We told you we were going to get some more in the 20s, so we did that. But now our average price is 35, so out 10 cents right now. Trying to give this one back into 17. If it breaks 17, then we'll get out. I'll buy some more down there at 10s. Thinking that Bitcoin might hold, thinking that Mara might hold down into here. And again, we just looked trying to think about that. It's a huge move to the downside for MARA, which was up over $2 at one point, 17, I guess $1.50, 17 into 18.50. So we'll see if Mara can recover some of that. Siga not doing anything. Of course, that's the short that we had. And this is the thing. Remember, we said like we're not going to do anything with the Qs. I mean, it was underneath. We put the target, so I'm going to go bang for that one. I mean, the fact that we were able to get out, not reload this at 68, and let this sort of thing happen, the only thing that we should have done, obviously, is to have gone short there. But, you know, get out of the way, sense that that was a problem, and move. So we'll still stay in Mara and look for some more. So the NASDAQ is coming in pretty good right now. There goes 67 more now. 67.12's coming in a lot as Nvidia loses 119. Look, we got out of some there in the PA. We talked about that. We even said to even Sharif was here and everything. And it was like, okay, well, that was at 122. Now it's down there at 119. It's not like we'll be buying it back any lower, but it's coming back in right now as Nvidia. We also got rid of some Apple today as well, which turns out to be pretty good as that's falling in right now. So to catch this falling knife right now, we say no thank you. Where is it going to stop is more about what we're worried about. If you zoom out right now, you're just back into basically open levels. So this could be where we stop if you're looking at an area, right? So this could be a level right now that you could bounce off of 19,450. That's where we were. That's the low in the pre-market, man. I mean, the low obviously down here is 19,420 coming in at 6 a.m. But other than that, you know, these kind of levels right here when people were trading Nvidia and the futures were open and with more volume, obviously, were traded down at 19,450, which is the area coming into play. So, I mean, maybe you wanted to test something, we could go along the TQs now, but I'm going to wait.
Yeah, I think I'd be patient. We just missed on any opportunity to grab those shorts, and I'm not chasing any shorts. It's just, I mean, the futures all went at once there. The other thing we're looking at was GameStop at VWAP, which it's here now. I'd like to think that this thing doesn't care what the market's doing, so we let the market settle down. It hasn't actually gotten to VWAP since 9:30, literally at the open. This is the first time you've had even like an adjacent test to it. I'm going to try and join here in the high 70s, maybe even tick up to 80s. Give it to the local bottom. We're just waiting for this one to calm down. It's a nice working trend. Each time it's pulled back, and it's done it a few times, like you've had decent 15, 20%, 15%, or 1 point there, pullback, sorry. 1 point, 1 point. This is a lot deeper, but VWAP has at least managed to hold. So I'm going to give this into the 70s and then see what it can do. If the market just keeps driving to the downside, it's entirely possible. I've said this before, like you can be a low float runner, you can be a squeeze name. At some point, if we fall far enough or hard enough, almost everything gets dragged with it. So that's going to be the case there. If it happens, then we're out underneath that 70 level, just slightly underneath it. I don't like putting it at the even dollar. Rivian, what can I say? I picked an inopportune time to sit on the offer to try to go short on Rivian. And now it's pulling into VWAP. So I probably missed the chance to short it off of 50, and we have to back away from that as well. And then Tesla, you can see what happened on Tesla. I tried to get 09s on the way down. Now it's on the way back up. We'll let it figure out where it wants to curl. I do want to short a pop now that we're underneath that support of the 210 level. It's just a matter of where it pops to. You don't know where it's going to pop to. Maybe it comes back into that previous high at 209 and turns. Maybe it comes all the way back into 210, and we go for that. If it's above 210, I don't want to touch it. Tesla above 210, strong. Tesla beneath 210, I want to look weakness, and I'll try to keep it that simple.
Yeah, keep it as simple as possible. All right, so we'll go into some Intel right now, and we'll just see what happens here. It's a strong name today into a falling market. It falls into VWAP, takes out VWAP a little bit there. I was just going through the scanner, like trying to find names that were positive, and one of the ones that I thought was setting up for something in and around VWAP was Intel. So I have a look at that. It just dropped below, so we are longer now at 25s. We'll see if it can go. VWAP's just here at 28. We could take 3 cents, but let's see. I'm going to wait for 35s. So if it can come back into this area, I mean, that little drip is 33s, so that could be something. But that was just another name that we were looking at. Maybe Palantir is pretty strong at 31 and change right now. Apple at 231 is a strong name. Shopify, Alibaba, XOM, Tesla. So all these names with a firm, of course, at the top over 33%. I looked at my account today. I was like, oh my God, I'm up 6% on GM. Okay.
General Motors?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I was like, I'm dead on that stock, but no, we're up on it for some reason.
Nice.
All right. So that was what I was trying to just look at some other things. I mean, I'm still long, obviously, all tech. All right. So reload spot on Intel, we just sort of talked about that. If it drops into the 20s, we'll get a little bit more, and then out of it on the teens. I'm not, there's 15. If we break 15, then we'll get out of Intel. This could be wrong. We are trying to catch something that's strong before it bounces back up. Now, there could be absolutely no bounce. So again, we just plan it perfectly. I'm not going to lose more than like 10% or anything of my net today on any one idea from now on for today anyways, unless there's a great short that builds itself back up. We already nailed the short when we got into the TQs and we're like, we don't want to reload it. We should have got into the short instead of just ignoring the long. So we knew the long was wrong when we got out. We didn't know it, but when we got out, we were like, okay, let's not go long
That's
again.
what getting out is.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that we thought it was wrong. It hit those levels. I mean, it's one thing to be able to call a short, another one to comment on it after. And I think that's the whole thing is that as a trader, you're a shot caller. And in order to be right here, I needed to put the trade on. So that to me is what it is, right? So I missed putting it on there. So yeah, I mean, we got out, it was fine. There was definitely enough there for me not to get long again. So anyways, it doesn't matter. That's that trade. We'll just wait to see if something else works out for us right now. But that's the TQs. So we're long Intel right now. It's not doing too much. And Mara, I thought I was bidding something. I'm bidding 11s. So if this hits at 11, then we'll take that. And then our average price should be, I'm hoping to get it to like 30s. We take a 30-cent hit because I still think we can get back up here. For right now, crypto's not doing anything, 59.6. We saw that bounce off spot at 59.5. So I feel like that's the warning shot, 59.5. And if we get into that, which is into that right now, we probably do get more downside here with Mara and with the market. So yeah, man, I mean, the Sega's clearly doing nothing and Intel's doing nothing. So right now it's just Mara for me and wait for a bounce. But I do know I'm looking for a short.
How can Sega and because I looked at GovX, if it's a nothing burger that it's going to do anything, I mean, talking about MPOX, if it's going to be a nothing burger for risks in North America, then isn't that probably also true for Europe? And then how is that not bad for those names? I don't get it. Like, if those names are all about, maybe it could just be a delayed reaction. Watch this come in tomorrow, and they're all gapping down like 25%.
Oh, yeah.
As a late reaction. Sometimes I really do wonder about that. There was just this, and okay, so I'm in GameStop, but I just saw this or heard this.
Here we go.
That there was a short seller report on this stock, AILE. I don't know them, but there was a short seller report. You can clearly see it went to the downside. And there was a response by the company where the company did the normal thing that they do, yada, yada, yada. Well, they're wrong, we're fine. That's usually the response. I'm not going to bother going over it. But what's interesting is how a stock 54% down is barcoding like this at exactly, and it's a weird level, but it's $1.46 and 146 it's essentially holding, 146, 146 half. So my thought is, well, if it's not doing anything and it can break this and just break $1.50, if it does. Try a 51 long. If it starts going for a recovery name, it's obviously SSR. Take a 151 long and just throw a stop back underneath 146. And if it goes, it goes. If nothing happens, nothing happens. If it doesn't break this consolidation, I never have to take a trade. But I've never seen an opportunity like this on a stock which was moving before that wasn't sort of worth the shot. Because if it does go, it could easily just fly right to $1.70. And then you could have a 20-cent move where you're really just risking just a fraction of it. So I'm just, AILE, it's obviously not a good name in a traditional sense, small cap stock, short seller report, all that good stuff. But yeah, I just got eyeballs on this. I don't think it's a very complicated play whatsoever. Breaks 150, I'll go long, throw a stop underneath VWAP here.
Yeah, so Mara broke. I mean, Bitcoin's at 59.3 right now. So we'll flush this whole market down right now as it's going to go and is now. I'm assuming that the Dow and all that is also red, but we can have a quick look at that in a minute. But there it is right there. We'll go to the downside. The NASDAQ is just back. So the NASDAQ is just back to flat. I was going to look for a flush out spot.
It's very close.
Here at some point, so we'll see. Here, I'm going to go back in tomorrow a little bit more here. I'll give it to 16.94. We did get flushed out of that. So there's no doubt we took that L on that first try there on Mara. One more try, that's it. Just in case, because that was a good move. And the reason why I was looking at this, oops, I want to type in NVIDIA over here. NVDA, let's go back to NVIDIA quickly. You just had a very, very big sell candle right there into 117.15. So NVIDIA, I mean, wow. Once we broke that 120 there was problems for sure. This is 117. We saw this yesterday in the earnings report. Down into here, 117. It got as low as 115, I believe. Yeah. But yeah, some levels here, 116.50 and so on. So NVIDIA right now feels like a falling knife. That's what it seems to be doing here as well. Nice.
Kyle wants the cash cow. I don't have that button.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, if you're short, I mean, that's definitely what you want. We're only short right now, SIGA. So we'll wait to see what happens here on that name, which is doing nothing. We're still bidding 20s. Mara, we're still in there. Other than that, Affirm maybe to sell a little bit back in, but if you want to deal with that, then fine. I don't know. Affirm is a very, very aggressive one way. All right, Nvidia, that sell candle could have been something. So we'll have to wait to see here on NVDA. There's that big sell candle into 117.80 on NVDA. Market maybe finding some footing here, but down to 19,400.
It's trying. I mean, I was waiting for a bounce.
I really liked Apple.
To try and get into Tesla. I mean, Apple, I still feel like Apple should be one trying for some longs. Tesla underneath support, I think, is going to be a short on this next available pop. This is going to be whatever candle is green next. It's going to be the first one in this move. I didn't want to chase it. Obviously, chasing every single part of this move would have worked. You got to be able to move on from that. So if we pop back in, I'm just looking at previous support in here. It's like 209. Just give me something into the 209. We'll try to take it. There was a question, why is Box so strong? I mean, sometimes the chart speaks for itself. They recently reported, and all it's been doing is breaking out in a big way. So there's no such thing as a good or bad report. There's a stock, and then there's price action. The only thing I will say about this, I was going to pull out a weekly chart so you could look at it from here, is you've got very distinct ranges on this name. Like 35 top, I mean the exact same bottom forever, right around $25, $26. So you've broken out this high just to possibly get into this one at 35. So it's got a couple of dollars till it runs into a huge level there on the weekly, which I guess you could see when eventually this chart filled out. So if you're long it, I mean, there hasn't been any reason for longs to be fearful of this whatsoever. What is GameStop doing? Essentially just holding on while the market falls. So the good news is it didn't threaten or break VWAP. As the market came in, it kind of dipped and held on to that 70 level. So I like it. It's not following the market the way everything else is. Hopefully that long will work out. That AIL, I'm just going to call it AIL because I don't know the company's name, AILE, just broke that 50 level. So I am long 151, and I'm going to be out if it breaks 146, which was the consolidation that it had forever. All it was a short seller report that the company responded to, saying the usual things that they say, which is, we're fine. Everything's okay.
Fine.
It's, you know what's hilarious about that is like, it's always, it's like when an athlete does something wrong, right? It's the same, you know what's going to be said before you even read it. I think we all know that. But there's some lawyer that gets paid a boatload to craft it because we all went into the wrong business. And it's like, I could have written that. I probably couldn't, but you know how you feel. Always the same thing.
Yep. Yeah, I could.
Like wait till Rice gets popped with his suspension, and
hopefully the NFL figures that out. I don't even know what they're doing.
You're on camera walking away from a car accident, and you can't even suspend the guy.
Okay. More problems coming right now. Here we go to the downside. We're long Apple. Nothing else has happened, but the market's come in. Watch out for 230. If we break 230, we're gone. We're long right now at 230.23. So again, I don't. This is, remember there it goes. So this is what we're talking about. You know, sometimes the market will just give it up. And you don't need to be sitting here and trying anything.
So there was this headline.
Yeah, what was the headline?
So I
still don't hear anything.
This doesn't seem like it should mean anything to me. The Pentagon approved the Department of Homeland Security's request for additional military support capabilities for presidential and vice presidential candidates.
No,
how does that make any?
That was
just a couple of minutes ago.
Right,
that shouldn't do anything.
No.
I don't see any headline it could just be technical. I don't see any headline that would cause this. I mean, the ES is at 5,600 now. I keep saying I don't want to chase anything to the downside. It's like I should have been chasing everything to the downside. But you're now right back into overnight support levels where you would expect some kind of a bounce. That's the ES. So AIL was a new thing we got in. GameStop made a little bit of a bitty bounce. So thankfully, this doesn't seem to care what's going on with the market. It just popped at 22 and came back in. So I got some out in the 90s when it failed 22. You'd like to see it break an even dollar and then continue to go higher. But for now, GameStop seems to want to get back into some of those highs. I'm not as optimistic that it can take out the top, mostly because the top is this top on GameStop. I think you got to be happy if it gets back into the 22-30 range on this long. If it gets 40, 50 cents, I got no issues taking that. And as far as finding a short, let's just be patient. If there's no reason for this other than a technical drop, I think you want things to settle down before getting into the short. Because if the rubber band action is fierce, then you're just going to get run over on the way back into the upside in some of these. But wow, these shorts are paying off. Good on you, Kyle.
Yeah,
I guess he was sitting short.
Yeah, I mean, when the market's ripping, you know, it's ripping, and when it's going down, it's going down. So you hear from both sides. Congratulations to anybody that was short. I mean, this short seems to be pretty good. We just took a little bit more. I mean, so Apple got flushed out. We talked about that. We did buy it back. We just got some out in the 20s, but it's still going. And I feel like the rubber band is doing exactly that. It's going up and then just snapping back down. Like all of these bids have sort of just been eaten up. We went over to Apple because it's the strongest name, and we, you know, it's our P&L number one. We say stick with, you know, the stronger names. So I'm just going to try this one more time. We are just noticing now, obviously not just noticing, but we had written down 229 as our big level, and that was, and I said that earlier. Even in the lunchroom, I was like, guys, like, you know, we're only up X amount. I was telling him how much I was up, and then but I was up that much pretty much at 935. Like when this move happened, well, I guess it was 945. But when this move happened, that was all Apple right there. We got a nice fill in the pre-market, and all of a sudden it was up huge, not huge, but enough. And then we got it again. And then by the time we got out, we triggered in at the same times into the TQs. And I mean, that Tesla trade now, we got some out at 213 right there. You know,
$15.
Like this was one of the better ones. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like right now you're getting a lot of movement all over the place. Come on, Sega, what's going on with you? But here we go. Apple, watch out for breaking 230 again. One more try, a little lower than 230 this time. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to give this a shot. We don't have to, but let's just see if it holds 230. The strongest, like, sort of, you know, name on the block here, if it can't hold this level, then you might as well just forget about it. Nvidia right now is breaking 117.
Yeah, it's just...
So you want to talk about a nice little downside move right now. I mean, it sucks. I didn't get out of nearly, like, maybe 10%, not even of Nvidia what I owned. But we did get some out there. Maybe we buy it back, but not now. Nvidia coming way in here. Nice move for anybody short.
Yeah, you want to let it settle down before. Usually on earnings, see it settle down and buy back anything that you get out. Because that's the thing. When you sell in your long-term account, it only means anything if you get back in. You can't say that enough. Like, you got to have time in the market. If I'm ever selling something in my long-term account, I need to have a plan of action with where that money is going to go. Because it's not going to, okay, well, you get something for cash. You don't always have like 4 or 5% interest rate that you can earn on your cash. But in a general sense, you want to make sure it has someone to go with it. I'm just scanning to see where there's relative strength in some chip names, and I'm not finding it anywhere. Like Marvell looks about like you would expect. AMD looks about like you would expect. Micron falling apart. There's barely any green candles. I'm still overlooking at Tesla, which doesn't even want to bounce. So all I have is this stock that no one's ever heard of, is AAPL. You know what? Okay. Out of pure respect. iLearning Engines. That is the name of this company. It's an American company. They have a float of 23 million, and 7% of it is short. If there was a short seller report, I'm going to assume that they probably took some profits on that move to the downside. It broke 150. It just tagged 55s. I have another offer here at 57 and then up at 163. Target is these highs in here. Forget about all that crap in the pre-market. The high is 173 on the day. So that's what we're in. It's a couple of longs that should care little about what the market is doing. And yeah, now GameStop is trying to push through that 22 again. So we didn't catch a falling knife. We went long on the squeeze name. Oh, graphics didn't work. On a squeeze name, we said we want to make sure we don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm sitting north side of this 22, looking for some 10s in here. We got about a 1 point move. We're looking for it to hold 222 even. If it doesn't, I'll take another leg out, looking to offer right in here at 22.10, and that AAPL stock next offer is in front of that 160. As the market's trying to make a little bit of a bounce here. It's Tesla that I want to look for a fade, if I get anything.
All right, 50 cents in the money on Apple right now as it defends off that 230. Or 40 cents, sorry, now 50 cents. We're long at 90s now. So we had gotten some out. Remember, we had just tested on a 230 break back up. We talked about that yesterday on one of the plays that we have. And get some out at 40s. Bang! That's a good one for you guys right there. We talked about this yesterday. I forget what the level was, but it had broke through and then retested, and we blasted it back up to the upside on that. So that's what that is right there on Apple. And this is the thing, man. We're not sitting around on stocks Like I said, why we're on Apple, I could feel a lot better losing a certain amount of money, obviously, on a stock that is the #1 stock and a stock that we've been reading really well on. I don't have a problem going back to the well there. I do still favor short. We are out of now 75%, exactly, actually, of this trade right now on Apple. So that was a good move into the 40s right there. Next little level for me would be 60. If that can come through, great. But otherwise, we'll get out. I mean, right now we're 50 cents in the money. We'll get out. We already got a piece out. We'll get out if it breaks lower than, I just told you where we're going to get out on, breaking through 230. So that comes in. There's the long, breaks through. We get 90s, and then it just rips right after that. So I don't know if that was a capitulated bottom because there was no real volume coming through there. So that makes me think that we're retesting again on that. That's hilarious.
You want to see volume spikes.
Seaga's not doing anything. Yeah, so it looks like finally we get some upticks in Nvidia. I'm zoomed in here because I want to see big volume. And I was just hoping that there would be like one huge flush. The problem is if you use that candle as the huge flush, that's 118. It still goes down another $2 or so into 116.50 as that bottom, 116.75. So here comes Apple right back in. Look, man, we took out 75%. We're hands off now. Let's see what happens into this power hour. I was going to say into the close. We're still well off that. All right, we get our news from Benzinga. Let's go hear about it.
If you feel lost in the noise of the market, then you need Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro cuts through the clutter and gives you the insights you need to make smarter, faster trades. From real-time news to unusual options activity, we'll show you exactly what's moving the market and why. Don't miss out on your chance to trade like a pro. Visit benzinga.com/pro to start your free trial today.
Thank you very much there, Adara. And look, we always have it in the ear. You want to make sure that you're not trading blind. Like at the end of the day, like win, lose, or draw on these news plays, you know, the way I see it, if Sega and the like and GovX and Verax or whatever, there's like a fourth one in there, like if that news hits and they start tanking, you know, that's going to be the actionable trade for the afternoon. You just don't want to miss it. When Boeing happens, it happens. I heard about that AAPL. The response. So if that made the move that I want to be in it. We said what the plan of action was going to be, 51 break, first offers at 1-to-1 when it got to 56. But if it loses that breakout, I don't want any part of it. Like I want it going here, straight into here, just like all that pent up anger, and then make the move. Doesn't happen, I'm not going to fight it at the end of the day. Now, maybe it bounces off of VWAP, but that was kind of like, I've seen it happen before. But you want that thing to go. The whole point of it coiling up there for an hour is for it to go. GameStop, I'm going to trail this one in here. You're seeing it make a nice little bit of a break, but when it had the consolidation break, it was at about 21.86, 87 in here. So if it gets back underneath that, it never got to VWAP. So if it breaks this, I'd like to look for another test of VWAP, which would be like 15 cents lower than where we got into this, 15, 20 pennies lower than where we got the long. So I want to take it out for profit if it's not going to get to the high of the day, and then wait around for VWAP. So took a couple of long positions, one obviously way better than the other, but let's see what happens on GameStop if it gets back into VWAP for potential bounce. But the market still feeling, at least it's trying to bounce. Tesla still feels pretty heavy. It can't seem to do much of a retracement here. Can't get to 208, now 207.5. I keep thinking we'll have some shot at a bounce to get into 209, and that's just not happening. This is a very steep fall on Tesla that I do not want to be chasing. I'm going to double check Rivian. That was the other one we wanted short. It's consolidating VWAP. That might set up for a better risk to reward trade at VWAP than Tesla, because at least I can give this back into 14.3. So it's giving you the consolidation entry where I can have a defined out. If it pops, fails up here again, I can try to jump into the short at VWAP and then look for a continuation play. Tesla, I wouldn't have an out if I took it short here. If I don't have an out, I don't have an in.
Right now, we have Apple, and make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notifications and hit the share and all of that, and let everybody know that you found a trading show that will cover stocks for you in the chat. We run down some stocks. We got the watch list and all that. Plus, we got 50-cent winners right now. So there it is for Apple. Right back up to the upside. We did not reload it. It did come back in. I was like, you know what? It's clear that this is a downside move. Let's not reload longs. If we have it, we have it. And it looks like right there, a little diamond hands right now for 70 cents now in the money on Apple. So Apple pretty good move back up. You know what? I told you we were waiting at 60s. You know what? Okay, if it comes, there we go. We're at 59. We're at 59. We are at 59, and there it is right there. It is another chicken dinner winner for you right there on Apple. Neil, a 70-cent winner. And like you said, try to find the names that you believe can battle back, and there it is right there for Apple. We believed in it, and we took it. It's Apple. It's fantastic, and that was the long, and it is your big stock of the day, Apple. Good trade there. Sega, we were able to get something out at 23.22 there. We still have this. I have no idea what it's going to do. I'm going to punch out if this breaks 32 now. So let's adjust our stop. I thought we could get into this and it could actually do something. Obviously not. We'll get out if that breaks that way there. But here it goes, man. Apple trying to go to the high side. We definitely like this stock, and it's working today. It's Apple. It's going to be PL number uno. And there it goes. It's almost another dollar club right there to put on the board for Apple. So I hope some of you were watching that 230 long.
Yeah, 230 coming in really nice. I see that's like the 50 period. No.
Nothing really. I was just...
No.
50 periods right here. That's why we're getting out.
Yeah, I was just... Sorry, guys. It was on his chart. So I was reading. It's coming back into resistance. So take it station to station. You're getting right back in. And I'm not saying to go short or anything like that. And just there's a lot of people in the chat. And thank you for being in the chat. It's a subs-only chat. We got to say that. If you want to ask questions, if you want to engage with our great community, then hit that subscribe in addition to the like button so you can drop your questions in there. We have Bostic speaking at 3:30. There's nothing on the calendar outside of that, and there was no significant news for that drop. It could have just been as simple as Nvidia broke the low and everything started to follow with it. I don't know. That's entirely possible on a day that Nvidia just did earnings and it's done 350 million shares. If that's the case, it has all started or rolled over when we lost 120 and then lost the low of the day. Look back to that 119 to see what happens there. And I still feel like Tesla is weaker than the rest. See that bounce that's happening everywhere else? Nvidia just showed you, Sean just showed you Apple. And Tesla can't even get back to the next dollar here. So there's something weaker about Tesla. You've now double tapped 207.5. If it cannot get back above that line, I might look for Tesla for the short. It just feels a little bit weaker than the others. Still green on the day. To give you an idea how impressive Tesla was this morning, the fact that it just dropped $7 since we came on and it's still green tells you how great the morning was. We're not in the morning. Now it's looking a little bit different. And I don't like the fact that volume, when you have that reversal candle like Sean was saying, a lot of times that's going to be the biggest one if you're really going to reverse. But it's not happening here on Tesla.
I was looking for something that's weak again, and one of the weakest names is going to be Google, unfortunately, as that right now is breaking through 161. And we had some news there about Apple trying to get involved with ChatGPT on that funding round. So I don't think that surprises anybody, but we've already talked about that. Sharif did a little bit of that on the midday. But there it is, 161.50 coming into play for Google. I really think that this could be the short if everybody's looking for a short right now. If we break that level of 160.70, just the low of the day, it's definitely been weak. If we can zoom this back out, actually, I haven't even really done this, okay, because we're off. We'll have to go to a 20-minute chart to see if there's anything here. No. So, you're not anywhere near unless there's something's going to show up over here. Yeah, well to the downside right now for Google. So this spot right here goes back to the 15th and 16th, which is 159. So yeah, not even close. Some consolidation. We've already passed through all of this. This is 160.50, but I don't really see anything until 159, 160 flat. So yeah, I think you get a 160. So I think you still have another dollar downside if you were thinking that way on the market right now for Google. I'd rather wait for the 50 period again. We're long Apple right now, so to go long on Apple and then short on Google, it's kind of a recipe for success right now, it seems like. But if the market does bounce, I'm certain, at least a little bit, that Google will go back upside. So we'll have to wait to see if that happens. But I do like this break. It's different going long short now as opposed to this break of 160.60. So watch out for that. There goes Apple right back into the money again. Still that same 60 cents, but we're on it. We're waiting to see what happens here with AAPL. Target 50 period always. So that's 230.77. How many shares do we have? We don't really have as many as we'd want, obviously. But here we go, Apple. All right, let's go a little higher, man. Let's get a little greedy. Let's go near that 231. Let's go to 230, like 80s, and see if we can get that. That's kind of a happy compromise. All right, good trade there for Apple, trying to make some of this back.
So a couple of things. One, I did try that that last wick high on Tesla, came back underneath the 207, went for the 207 short underneath. It then broke back out. Got to be careful when you're short at the bottom. I don't think that's the place that you give things a lot of room, because if you're short at the bottom and you give it a lot of room, it's got way more room to the upside than it does to the downside. That's kind of obvious for everybody. And thank you for someone in the chat saying, is your back okay? We sit down all day long, right? So, you know, you'll see me every now and then just try to get loose. You have to. Otherwise, you know, you're going to end up with back problems, which pretty much as a 40-year-old person, you're always going to have. But there is a halt here. This SCWX, SecureWorks, is halted up 17%. Dell is working with advisors to explore a sale of this company. So SCWX, it's halted at 848. It's indicating an 893 open right now. This stock was literally doing absolutely nothing, and it didn't do any volume. It did 100,000 worth of volume and then halted to the upside. So to say that who knows what kind of liquidity you're going to get if it opens up is an understatement. Personally, I wouldn't be touching it unless I knew it was going to be liquid, because clearly nobody trades this thing. Like, look, that tells you everything you need to know. There's no trading going on. Maybe volume comes in after reopens. We'll let you guys know. GameStop's still not really, it's in the same consolidation. There's nothing left to do until either it breaks this high and I move the trail. So for now, we'll just sort of hang on to GameStop and see if it can get back into the upside. I'm going to assume Dell moving on that news as well.
Dell?
It did.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're exploring that sale, but that SC, like, it's not huge. So you see it go to the upside because the algo's like, ooh, Dell going to get some cash? And it comes right back to where it was. Dell reports tonight, by the way, so stick around. We got the aftermarket show. We got Danielle Shea. We got Ulta Beauty. We've got Dell. We've got, I'm already forgetting this. Oh, my goodness. It's Dell, Ulta Beauty. You know what? Hit the like, hit the subscribe as I go live for you. It's Lululemon. I knew it. That's the one. Oh, Lulu. We mentioned Marvell. I'm like, there's something really, really bad that's reporting that we need to have a good report. That's Lululemon. So you got Dell, Ulta Beauty, just checking them out here. There's, Autodesk as well. That could be a little bit interesting, but I think the big one that most people are going to be concerned with, I'm going to guess, is Dell. I don't know. You guys tell me, but I would almost bet money most of us are more interested in Dell than Lululemon. Let's go over to the desk with Adara.
Yet another update on this ongoing saga of the new OpenAI funding round. As we know, yesterday it was reported that Microsoft is looking to be involved in this new round, which is set to reportedly value OpenAI at $100 billion. Then later today, we have news that Apple apparently is set to join this funding round. Now, Bloomberg reporting that Nvidia has held discussions about joining this round, potentially interested, not any prices listed or any level of involvement, but NVDA now reportedly joining this round. Worth noting, different publications reporting all of these. We got the first piece of news yesterday from The Information. Then we got the Wall Street Journal, this report coming from Bloomberg. We'll let you guys know if there's any other developments to this saga.
All right, well, we're...
everybody wants.
Yeah, we're long NVIDIA anyways right now against one. We're just waiting for it to come back here. We've been buying this for a little bit of time here. We're long at 117.80, so right now it's 30 cents in the money. We're just going to wait. We're up more now on NVIDIA than we've been on the day with this move, just because we're just kind of just piecing it out here. All right, let's get another piece out. I was waiting at 118.10. It doesn't look like wants to do much. All right, let's just hands off now. So right now we'll wait to 50s. So that's where I am right here. We're back into the 50s, in the 40s. Let's go to the 30s and take a piece if it comes back up. We're looking at this move there into the 50s for NVIDIA. So we just did buy the bottoms there. We'll wait to see if it does want to pop through. NVIDIA right now back in it, baby, with that long. Apple just not doing anything. I'm going to put an offer now in the 40s. We said that we would try to go NVIDIA. Go NVIDIA, go right there. And this is what we're talking about. Props it up again. Like Neil and I will sit here and I'll be very, very patient waiting for something to happen, right? There goes NVIDIA. We were waiting for something there. This play was off of 117.50. We just kept on. I thought anyways it was a bouncing spot. You got to take risks here. Not every stock is going to line up to be the greatest opportunity of all time, but that's fine. NVIDIA is now our number 2 stock. We're obviously in this name right here. Here we go. Let's go. It's almost $1 right now on NVIDIA back to the upside. I just put an offer there in the 40s. It's starting to go. It's not meme crazy. It's earnings day crazy right now on this name as it continues to go. We're at 42. If we can get that, that would be Great. And that's exactly what that was right there on 118.43. It's another one there brought to you by Trader TV Live. There's 70 more cents, Neil. So far today, Apple 30, 40, 50 cents right now. Nvidia, big player. And then Sega, the other trade that we have on for everybody and not doing anything whatsoever.
What the heck?
Yeah, basically, we're trying not to be all the volume. So we'll just have to sit here and try to get something out on Sega now. There's nothing happening right now. We are out of 75% of Nvidia, maybe taking out another piece coming up soon. We just got 50s or whatever that was, guys. You saw that. So nice move up for Nvidia. Maybe take another piece out. It's been a big day.
Yes, sir. Like that bounce there, Nvidia. The only thing we did is get into that Rivian short finally. We just waited. And again, sometimes you really just have to wait for it. Like 2 things can happen when a stock consolidates. Well, 3 things can happen when a stock consolidates. It can do nothing but consolidate more till the close. It can break the top or it can break the bottom. If you're bearish, you're waiting for it to break the bottom or short the top. It's pretty much that simple. Rivian broke the bottom, so the second it did, I went short. I want to try to add to it in front of VWAP if we can even get that, and I got a decision to make on GameStop as well. GameStop's at decision point. So it's pulling right back in. My plan of action, I don't know that I want to change it, is to just simply trail at it. You got the lower high in there. I have to respect the fact that GameStop pulls right into the most, if you were picking the most obvious place for GameStop to turn around, I would argue that's exactly what happened. And when a squeeze stock does this, I think you got to be ready to get out of Dodge if you have to. So that's a great move into the upside. The other thing it's done, and a lot of times if I'm thinking short, I do this. Like if I'm thinking mean reversion, I go up that 15-minute, sometimes better than using a shorter time frame. That's not a very good trend line because it should be a little bit more steep, but you get the idea. You get bounced, it went underneath the trend. Okay, so maybe trailed some people out. That's not a bad entry point to give to here because then shorts have entered here. But when it can't hold above that previous trend line, I got to be getting out because that would be a short entry for me a lot of times. I'd be looking to go short when it confirms that we're going back underneath. So let's be careful with it here. Thank you, JKL, there for the super chat. Just announced Nvidia talking about funding OpenAI. Can you guys talk about the OpenAI funding? So they're not the only ones. We've been Apple's going into them as well. You know Sam Altman, I mean, forget about when he said that nonsense about $7 trillion. But this is, so OpenAI in some sense is a little bit like ARM. It's like everybody knows they need it. So they want to be invested in it and have a piece of the pie because they understand that that's going to be the future. It does mean from a dominance standpoint, if all the big boys are going into them, I don't like clearly the place might be to short is going to be Alphabet because everyone sort of views this very binary. Like if OpenAI wins, and that's not good for Google and their search and their dominance and yada yada yada, and you're seeing that play out here. So every time a big name comes in picking OpenAI, well, that's not good for Alphabet. And as you can see, Alphabet's like just chilling out at their lows as we can see. That's about all I can say about this. It makes perfect sense. All the big boys do this all the time. That's why Nvidia wanted to own ARM in a similar sense. They tried to buy them outright. That's why, I mean, Intel's in ARM, the institutions are all over it, and as you can see, Google breaking some fresh lows and continue to go to the downside. Wow. I'm not short that. I just entered into
Google
Rivian.
Broke it. Oh no, I wasn't here.
It's now breaking down. Man, chase this move. We lose 56 in the ES. This could be a lot of trouble for this market, the way that Alphabet is dragging to the downside. Oh, and for Dell, Dell, this is an actual news spike on that buy. Be very careful chasing tops. The algos react to that news and just think it's going to be, it's good news. They're going to get money. They don't know the report. And if you get caught at one of those tops, you're absolutely rugged on Dell. So thankfully, we're always giving it to you live so you know what is or isn't happening. Blindly punching in because you see a volume spike is a good way to get yourself run over. Thank you for that super chat. We appreciate you so much. We appreciate everybody. But it's clearly Google's taking on the chin. I'm shorting a VWAP play, but it might just be Alphabet we should be shorting. Really. They're hating this news.
Yeah, there's another reload. I mean, you just need to be trading one stock. We talked about that sort of today. Again, I think it's like Apple, it's Nvidia. Those are going to be my top 2 stocks today. And really, infinitely great opportunities. Now, again, if you're caught in all this, Right now, we finally started to settle down. So I just want to let everybody know, like, we're scalping this out. You know, we waited for the 50. We just got 2 outs up there at the top of 118 and 118.10 or something. If this breaks 117.50, we're gone. I feel like the scalp mode is now on. We've talked about that as the market cannot find footing. If it does, great. We want to have something in case this is the bottom, but it's not looking like the bottom to me. We keep on trying to get back up, and then now we're right back at those lows one more time. If it's going to bounce, I feel like it almost already should have, man. I mean, there's really nothing here right now stopping this from not moving lower. You know, we go into where we were. I mean, I guess if we even go yesterday's close, yeah, well, obviously we're below that right now, being down 0.12, 0.19 now on Nvidia down 6, and the market here down 1.9. So we'll see if we can catch it back to the upside. Here it comes again. Again, we're long. This is another 25-cent winner. You know what? Let's just sort of put our money where our mouth is. Take another piece out for 25 cents up here at 98s. Let's just sit there, get the fill, and there it is again. We'll just keep on firing off the hot dog cannons. You know, because trust me, like we're using, like you can use whatever shares you want, but sometimes you'll sit there and I'll be like, oh man, I just lost 10 cents in Intel, but it takes me like 30 minutes to do it. I'll just basically put on the same amount of shares, or sometimes on something like Nvidia that we actually trust, and just scalp it back and forth. But that's what we're doing right now. Let's try to hold. We just have a small piece left. We're actually bidding down here in the 60s. It keeps on bouncing off that level. I think that that's a little bit too early, so we'll put it like around 70. If it drops into that, fine. But then if we lose this 50 level, we're gone. Let's see if we can make this special with Nvidia, and then Apple, we've already gotten out. So we have a little piece left in both Nvidia and Apple to test out this long. And then Sega, we finally got a fill. It came in and filled us at 22s there. So absolutely nothing happening on this name. If you see that in my blotter, my bad. We thought that we would make a play on news, and it's fine. We should be able to make a little bit on this, but it's definitely not going to be a lot.
I mean, look, the news was legit. Like, let's be real. Like, any update, like, what are you supposed to do? An MPOX stock has an update on MPOX, and you want to go over and trade it. We've seen those things fly 20, 30% on an outbreak story. So, you know, at the end of the day, I still think that might be something for tomorrow. So Alphabet, I just pulled up a 15-minute chart. I'm like, okay, well, where's the trade going to be? It already lost the bottom. You're a little close to support at 160 to short the low of the day. I don't want to be short the lows, but there has not been a green candle, so I want to look for a short in it. Clearly, it's the one that's moving more than everything else. I'm anticipating you could see a bit of a bounce off 160 that can give us an entry. As I said, the only things I'm in, trailing Google, and we're short on Rivian in here. I didn't zoom out to 15-minute, but this should be obvious. This is the previous low at 14 even, so 14 even in here. Want to make sure we have bids going down into that even dollar on RIVN as that's coming back in. We got 22 short, little Will Clark action, but we're going to get bids down into 14. Alphabet trimming things. I see a lot of conflicting opinions on whether Alphabet's search dominance in the chat is done.
And we went over, grabbed a coffee and missed that Google trade. I'm glad Neil was talking about it, but this trade was the trade, 160 breaking that bottom. We were like, let's find something weak and take the bottom break. It's 30 cents, so congratulations to anybody that has that. You do have another one, but Chipotle's like, yeah, but we don't have it, so. All right, let's wait. There goes Nvidia. There was basically no harm, no foul done. We did get out of that last piece, but as I see some of you guys talking there on the chat, you are also trying to bottom pick some of this. Seems silly to do it. We've sat here many times during the midday and during all kinds of days and been like, hey man, these are the trades and we're really confident on this and on that. And right now, I don't think catching falling knives is the right thing to do in this name right now. So we have to look for something that's strong, something that's weak and faded on pops. I mean, we already hit that Google trade. We should have hit it. We don't have it, so that sucks. We can scan through a couple things here to see if anything's going to hit. All right, so let's do that. We'll go through some weak stocks right now and just to see Roblox. Hello. So we've gotten out of a lot of our Roblox. We sort of talked about that over the last couple of days. Summer's over, so we're happy with this. We got out some in the 44s, some in the 42s. We didn't panic and get anything, and we weren't even here on those lows back in the day. So again, Roblox breaking into lows again, down $1.50, down 1.5%. Looks like it wants to continue to go lower, 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 lower right now on that. So we'll hold off. Google is actually coming back up. So Google could be a trade. All right, you know what? This was that level on Google. Hold on, move this watch list over here just quickly. That's still Nvidia. Where's Google? Google right there. 160.50. So we'll see if there is a level coming in now for Google. I like the momentum break down below this. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a reload. If you're going to get into a short, you would like to get it at the 50-period moving average at least, which is 161. So I think a pull up to that might be appropriate right now for Google. Do we think there's a bottom in this market or not? I mean, what do you guys think? Tesla right now could be at that level as well. I think Tesla looks like it might be a long. This one's sort of bounced already a couple times here. Let's try it. It's just bounced off of this 50-40 area one more time. So we'll try it here. We are long now. I don't know, did everybody just punch in with me? It just sort of ripped up there about 20 cents and then faded back out. Let's see what winds up happening here. We'll wait in the 80s to get a piece out just in case we're right on this. We're only long here at 60s. We could take 20 cents. It looks like it wants to drop in. We'll give this to about, I mean, I don't really want to give this to 206, to be honest with you, but we might have to. That bottom right there is 206.50. That wick is 20. Again, I'm not worried too much about that wick. That's 205.80. All right, here we go. Tesla, a strong name for sure today, but nothing has been strong in the last hour. So this is continuously going to the downside. We're sitting here at 80s. We'll see if we can pick a spot there. There it is. We actually get 82s right there. That's another hot dog for you. Now we'll see if we can get back up into O's. Go right now. There's 40 cents for you, hopefully. Get going there, Tesla. We want a 207 area fill on this. We're actually at 207 flat. There it goes. 2 more pennies for us, and we got it right there on Tesla. Nice move up. Come on, come on. 1 more penny now. Oh, no. Why are we even at even levels here? I will never know. All right, so let's just punch out there. We get 98s. All right, boom. There goes Tesla right now. It's props up one more time. This time we're sitting here and make the trade. So we just went for a level that we thought looked like support. Seems like it is. And boom goes the dynamite again, Neil. There it goes for Tesla. Huge move back up to the upside right there. Let's take advantage of that one. Puff, puff, and pass right there on a face slapper right there for Tesla. Right in front of you. Neil, that's $1 right there in under 1 minute. So that's a good one right there for that. What's for lunch? It was that chicken, but this is your dollar club right there, putting it up one more time for you. Again, I hope you like the show. Hit the like, the subscribe, and cheers to everybody with Tesla.
Cheers for sure. That just reminded me, I have not been doing a very good job drinking my water. Oh, that's not even water.
Well, it is. It's water.
Where's your jug?
Water with beans. We got our water right here. We're already at the 3 p.m. level, so we got to keep going as it is 3 p.m. right now. So. Yeah, man. We got batting practice tonight at the cages. So
I freaking love batting practice.
Yeah, man. Extra practice. You know what I'm saying?
Look, man. Every kid usually loves batting practice. I'd live in the
journaling batting stances tonight. Aggressive journaling.
You know what's interesting? There's a lot of people say, oh, don't have a stance and stick to it. But there's a really good hitting coach that basically said, like, especially for like leg kick or whatever, like try different things to find what works for you. That whole nonsense of, oh, you have to hit this way. It's a whole lot. It's like trading. You've got to find your own zone. There's no right or wrong way. You get to the same hitting spot at the end of the day. But I love messing around in the cage. Just like try to find a swing that works for you and all that kind of good stuff. So shout out to all the longs out there. I'm only in one. I've elected and now I'm going to add to it. So try to keep it really simple. Like I wanted to trade straightforward, strong stock. And there was a question in the chat just now, like how do you know a stock is strong or weak? If you knew with 100% certainty that X stock is going up or X stock is going down, then everything in life would be really simple. But the way I see a strong stock is a few simple things. One, it's strong relative to, like, is it up more than the market? Is it up more than its cohorts? That's an easy way of looking at it. So, is Apple stronger than the other Mag 7 names? Is CrowdStrike stronger than Palo Alto? Like, that kind of a thing. Is it trending to the upside? Does it have higher highs and higher lows? That's another thing I like to look at. Is it holding VWAP if it's a strong stock? On the daily chart, now this isn't always true when you look at the higher time frame. On the daily, sometimes it's bullish. Now, I like GameStop for a long right now, but it's not bullish on the daily chart. When I pull up a 15-minute, I want to see that trend as well. The other good thing for bullish, does it have a trend reversal? Like sometimes the stock can be bullish just because it does that and breaks this part out. And then that automatically I'm bullish on that V-shaped breakout. There's all kinds of things that can make a stock strong or weak. And then everything I said about strength, just kind of flip it on its head and use that logic for weakness. Like Rivian, for example, Rivian was a strong stock today. No question about it. Strong. All day long, broke out, got to the high, but then look at it dump down. It turned weak. People can call this a head and shoulders. The way I like to see it, it's just prior resistance being now resistance and rejecting a breakout off of that level. So you're rejecting the breakout, and now you got resistance on the other side of it that was already there before. So to me, that sets up a short opportunity where you have a defined out. So that's a relatively simple trade off VWAP. If all it does is scalp inside of the range without breaking down, fair enough, then that's what we'll do. And we'll hold on to this at least until, 340, 350 going into the close. So I hope that makes some sense. It's not always as simple as the stock is up on the day, the stock is strong, or the stock is down on the day, the stock is weak. I think there's a little bit more nuance than that, but you have to have your own definitions. I'm not here to tell you that there's one way to define a strong stock.
All right, good answer on that one. Yeah, for me, I just look at versus the market. So it's a strong stock, 0.6 versus minus. That's all. All right, so we'll just continue to go. Tesla has pulled back again. We were going to get out of this, honestly, if it broke through the 50 level. That's 50s right, that's 40s right there. So we've already took it out. A good trade on that one. We can see if it wants to go a little bit higher. The market bounces completely off the 50-period moving average. We said that would probably be a good level to reshort into something. It's 320. Like we're not tapped out, but it's been an aggressive day. And like I said, we had already sort of used a lot of energy in absolutely destroying everything this morning. We talked about putting up record day here, which it was in the open. Boom, that long, then these longs again, then the longs in the TQQs really were just hot. That was double reload there. The Nvidia long, it's going to look silly now, but these longs right there at 120, these outs are 124. Like we're talking about $4 or $5. Someone said a joke about, where's the $4 winner? And then I just put it right on the head right there. And then it came back in again, and we took another big winner there. Only now before losing out on on Nvidia, still an absolute monster. And then the number one P&L stock today, it's not close, is Apple. And then we got two great longs right off the open, off of our posted 229 level. That was the 200-period moving average. We were thinking long all day, especially in the open where we had all of our long ideas, and that was just cranked up. Man, big shares, big moves, great trading. And then just now, we also made money on Apple before eventually losing when it took that bottom, which turns out to have been the bottom that we punched out on. So there's those trades. We did lose on Morrow when we came back. We talked about that one. That wasn't that many shares. It's when it came back in. We still did wind up losing too much on Mara. We talked about that as it was happening, trying to support Bitcoin. And right now, I think we might have a good level here for sure on the move back to the upside. But I don't think upside right now is something that I really want to look at. We're into SIGA, which is doing absolutely nothing, so we'll pass on that. TQs and Tesla, and then so we've already sort of gone over the Tesla trade as well. There's that 210 break in the move higher. So that's all the trading for me today, and we'll just wait to see. Oh, and Intel, we lost 6 cents or something on Intel right there as Intel kept dropping down. Intel's now bouncing off $20. That could be a level.
$20 in Intel.
But it's still a really bad level. But at the end of the day, could be a.
No, it is a level. It's just when you pull up the daily chart, it's not a. No, it's not a level that makes you get you don't get that warm feeling inside.
Excited.
Like I just saw in the chat here, here we go. First off, Inkin all day, or Lincoln all day. I don't know, Inkin all day, I guess. GME the GOAT. I respectfully disagree. You can go long a meme stock. I don't think it's the GOAT. I think for a lot of people during the meme days, there's no question about it. A lot of people made a lot of money in GameStop. A lot of people made a lot of money trading GME and things like Funware and all that stuff. It was fantastic during its run. So shout out to that. I think you can definitely have some fun with it. There was something else in there. There it is, a reg. I'll load up on Nvidia again at 98. See, there's a difference. The difference between that 90 to 100 level, where that Black Monday, everything went to the downside, you could just scoop up anything you wanted for fantastic entries. It was very different, those lows on something like an Nvidia looking at 90 than Intel looking at 20. One of those, you feel a heck of a lot more comfortable when you put the order in and hit the buy. And the other one, you're second guessing what you're doing with your life at that moment. But so a couple of things. I am trailing GME. It's not breaking down. It's essentially going sideways. I'm just going to show you guys. There's your bounce. It's now trailing right in here. It can't seem to break down. It's not breaking out to the top. It's 324. I'm not going to put anything new on. But to keep it simple, we shorted Rivian. We think we're going to $14 if it goes down. I'm at $14.05 next. So relatively simple trade there. The Tesla, not really seeing anything that I like over in Tesla. And I did want to go back over, if we could, to Alphabet, which it's catching a bid. So it does bounce off 160. I don't like that. I'm never a big fan of, at the end of the day, trying to short when 160 is a big level. It's trying to come back into the upside. If it gets through 161 quarter, this is starting to look a little bit bullish. If it rolls over a prior resistance, then I would look for this one to try to be a short. We still have some time till we get to those imbalances, and I think there's like 1 or 2 shots. Keep in mind, remember that we keep talking about this, the last 10 minutes of the day, sometimes you slap a couple of sell imbalances on the market, in that last 10 minutes when companies can't do buybacks, that's exactly when you can get some, not capitulation, but some real follow through to the downside, which is a heck of a lot of fun to trade in that last 10 minutes. So if you can find a short stock and it also happens to come out to a sell imbalance, that can be a really good look for you. Not to say that Google has. I think it's Nvidia, like we keep saying, it's Nvidia that usually has the imbalance.
Yeah, you're not too far away right now. We are still 70 cents in the money on Tesla. We did take another piece out as it came right back into 207, and we sat at 207 and got it out there once it came back. But there it goes one more time, right back up. I should have reloaded it. Oh man, that's twice. We had something else that we were like, we should reload. I can't remember what. It was Nvidia, right? And that didn't work for us. Tesla there came in again, and we didn't do it. So let's just see if it wants to go. Maybe we get a high tick here and able to sort of withstand some of this pressure on the market sell, and then just relief a little bit into the close. We are long a very strong name here, and very happy to be it with Tesla. So here it goes, 80 cents now in the money on that play. And I think we'll just leave it, man. This is the one. I don't have any offers out. I don't have anything else going on right now other than this. So if you guys want, I can go over some names. Disney here, I want to look at that, as I've liked this in and around that $90 mark, and that's kind of what we're bouncing off now. The chart looks pretty bad for Disney, obviously, and it needs to get above this 50-period moving average. So I think this also is one of the worst ones there. I think you got to wait at least to 85, see if it breaks back down below there. We don't. I was just checking. I was actually been reviewing my portfolio over the last couple of days. It's yeah, we're not too heavy into Disney, and I do not want to reload this position at all. We talked about dumping Starbucks as well a little bit today, which is okay. It's at these prices. We talked about it, 95 teens. That's where we're at right now. This is where we got out. Again, a nice move up for Starbucks. Let's wait to see. All right, what's the other one? Chinese EVs? Yeah, sure. We can have a little look at that. We were looking
Li
at
Auto, baby.
Bouncing off $4 the other day, but that hasn't done anything again. And then Li Auto, well, it's up nicely today, actually. I was waiting for that $4 break. And then Li Auto today, still underneath that 22 break level that everyone was talking about. And yeah, being an absolute dumpster fire is Li Auto. But today it looks like it's doing a little bit better right there. So nice move up that 10% on Chinese tariff talk. But there's that 22 level. That's really the big trade. That's what you're waiting for there on Li Auto. So yeah, good mention there.
I'm setting an alert for that. Be that 22 on Li Auto, because it's the kind of, when the stock breaks like that, that's where you're willing to lose, because it's been so depressed and it's been holding the same range, 17 to 22 for now a couple of months. So when it relieves that pressure, that's what we're looking for. Li Auto, it's a piece of it's a not good stock, and when not good stocks make rounded bottoms and break out, it doesn't take as much for you to get a big percentage move. That's the idea there. So Li Auto is not a good company in my estimation. For traditionally, you don't want to be buying stocks that look like that, but when they go squeezing and the algos start buying, and we know what happens when the algos buy the Chinese ADRs. They don't like to stop whatsoever. So this is your last chance. You need to break this top here. If you don't break the top, I'm just getting out. If this is all we're going to get here on GME. And I am not going into Google. It doesn't look like it's got the weakness that I wanted over there in Alphabet. Like, see that strength? It's still pressing right through resistance. So press through resistance. Don't have to stand in front of it. It's trying to press through resistance here at 161.5. This level looks a little bit more enticing, but you don't have to stand in front of a moving freight train. You can allow it to try to roll over and get that short. That's the way I want to take this, especially in the afternoon. I don't want to create LFT in here just yet. And yeah, you're right. Saad Mahmood, strictly a trade idea. Goes without saying, and things like Li Auto and GameStop and
Right.
the like, strictly a trade idea. Like when we were going long on Palo Alto, when it had that dip, that was more than a trade because I intended for my daughter to have those shares one day. And it was just a good place to buy a good company. It's very different when you're picking spots in Li Auto. And again, some people might have a better reason to invest in a long time. I don't know enough about it, so I don't. I try to keep it that simple. I really don't know much about the company. I'll defer to Sharif on that because he's actually done work on it, whereas I haven't. It's just a trade.
All right, $1 in the money on Tesla, just a trade. Again, on that one, up $1. We'll see where it goes. It just went even higher. Went up to 207.85 right there before stopping. Let's just see. We're trying to see if this happens. And guys, don't forget, like, not everybody is green around here, right? I mean, this has been not an easy day, especially if you were caught long. There was, a nasty drop right there, and you could have, sort of dug into an Nvidia and lost. Things like that. I know Adair and Sharif probably mentioned, their days today. And yeah, it's been a good one
You see
here
CrowdStrike?
for us. Yeah, CrowdStrike, I guess. No, I have not looked at that yet. I'm just in Sega and Tesla right now, waiting to see what happens. Market moving is Microsoft. Maybe right now. Let's have a quick look at that. That's been a name that we haven't looked at in a minute. MSFT. Again, this used to be a name that used to be all over trading and haven't looked at it in a minute. 413 is pretty darn low for Microsoft, but this has that Tesla bottom again, right? So some of these stronger names have bottomed out. So this is a good name that looks to have bottomed out maybe at that 413 area. So 413 right there coming back in. We're still, look, this is 20% left of Tesla. If it goes fine, but this is not a bad new opportunity right here for Microsoft. Where is Microsoft?
I have a theory about Microsoft, by the way.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Yeah, we'll get that in a minute. I mean, there's 412.62, a break lower on that. It's $1 from here. What's going on with Microsoft?
So two things, to me, two things happen in the market when you see the volatility and the volume that Nvidia had. When Nvidia got up there, so it was a three-way show for the biggest company in the world, and then they split. To me, it was a noticeable lesser interest in terms of the day trading in Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. And it's like all of that excess trading went from those names and into and over into Nvidia. And then all of a sudden, like names that you as a day trader, you'd look at them all the time. It's like, yeah, Microsoft, there's always good moves. There's always good liquidity. Now I'll look at Microsoft, Meta, Amazon sometimes, and I'm like, what am I looking at? Like there's this bigger spread than normal. Pre-market volumes don't look like they used to. And it's all because of Nvidia. Things change. And what's at the top isn't always at the top. Although in Microsoft's case, they've been at the top for a long time. So Google did make a curl at second resistance, not first. That's it's not really 161.5. It's like 161.30 something where it just turned. But it's kind of around the half. That's probably why I said half. But it's in the 30s here. I grabbed 25s on the way back in. We'll see what happens next. I'm bidding down 161. I do believe it's past 330. I didn't look at the early look imbalances, but
right.
We'll head on over to the screen, I believe, to get a look at, I think we do a little bit of a sector watch with Adair, and then we'll come back and tell you the imbalances.
As we wrap up the day, we're going to take the time to look at some of these names in the S&P 500 making outsized moves that maybe we haven't discussed as much. There are, of course, a lot of earnings names on this list, but I wanted to switch it up, talk about some names that we haven't discussed or earnings that are a little bit smaller. One name here on the move is PayPal, PYPL. This one announcing a new partnership with Pfizer to basically allow Pfizer customers to use PayPal services. It's also apparently set to boost one-click conversions, so good look for PYPL. The one earnings name on this list is going to be the Cooper Companies here. COO up more than 11%. Sales and EPS beat and generally stronger than expected guidance for their fiscal Q4 and full year 2025. So good look for COO. Last but not least here, we actually have GE Vernova. This one, despite a bit of a move down, still up more than 5%, getting an outperform rating here by William Blair. So quite a few names that are not necessarily the DG, the CrowdStrikes of the world, making some larger moves today, guys.
All right.
Big on CrowdStrike. So the early look imbalance is keeping nothing burger. CNQ has been there every single day. It's 2.6 million to sell. DAC is less than $1 million.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry guys, I was coughing. I mute myself when I cough. That's my bad. So CNQ, big sell, usually pairs off 2.6 million. Walmart, it's a buy, but it's very small. And you see Kohl's there is an early look, 500,000 buy. Those are very insignificant. We'll wait till the big names come out. All the NASDAQ names, you don't see anything until it gets to 350. So worry about that. Worry about that then. It was CrowdStrike that I was going to mention before we went to the turn there. And I'm not a huge fan of the way that this went on CrowdStrike today. I would have loved, I think I said this in the middle of the day when we got a question about this. Yeah, man, just hold on to 275 and VWAP in here. I actually wanted above VWAP at the highs in that aftermarket. And it really lost everything with the rest of the market. Still up 4%, but just because it's up 4% doesn't mean I love the price action. It's a rejection so far of this little bit of a break. So I'm not bullish. I'm not returning to being bullish on this move until it holds above 275 on the week. But I'm in it. It is what it is. Like, I'm not going to say I don't own the stock, but I'm not feeling as good about it as I did at about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I know Daryl was short that one. And I saw, there was a lot of things you saw early when it ran. You're just like, yeah, baby, we're good to go, because I wanted to see that after earnings. You looked back at it after a couple of hours. What just happened? The market giving up those gains rather quickly. They got their own problems at Crowd. Still have that lawsuit pending.
Right. It's 2:35 right now. Let's find out what's going on. All right, so the imbalances right here. CNQ is always on there, man. That's been on there forever and ever and ever, it seems like. So we'll have to wait to see what's going on with that stock. Just looking at the chart now, Canadian National, we've talked about this. It's up near, oopsies, go like that, sort it by size. It's up near highs again, this play. So there it is, nice little name upside there, Canadian Natural Resources. Huge move, Bank of America with the buy. We've looked at that name a couple of times, and I think we talked about that on this show, I believe, yesterday, but BAC, so a nice move up there for BAC. And I was saying that JP Morgan and all that were at highs, and Bank of America right now at the 50 period. So seeing what's happening right now, trying to break through $40, it seems like it has done that here today. So nice move there for BAC, Bank of America.
You seen JP?
Nice upsides. Yeah, I mean, I was talking about it yesterday. It was 222 today. Still ripping, man. I mean, I love this stock. We talked about buying the best and only the best, and there goes JP Morgan. Some of the Canadian banks have gotten hit a little bit, but we're not going to worry too much about those. Other than that, Walmart continues to work. We talked about death of the dollar stores. That has played out there, and you can see why. Again, we sort of talked a little bit about that on the show. And yeah, so right now, just chilling, man. Waiting for something to happen in this market. We've got Tesla 70 cents in the money and Sega doing nothing. So yeah, so far so good. It's been a decent day here. Like I said, it hasn't been great for everybody. It's been great for many, though. I just hope, more importantly, it's been great for everybody here. Regardless of what everybody's doing in behind us, or Neil or myself, you guys are the ones putting on the trades, right? And so I just hope that everything's been somewhat successful for you as we show you the pathway and show you that you can be a successful trader. I myself will be green today, and we've had a big day. We talked about that. We've given some back right now, and I'd be fine if Patrick comes around again. Patrick's still holding for it. Not here, might be the right move right there. But here it comes, man. Nice move up there. This is why we're able to do what we do. Bigger wins, holding on to this trade. There it comes, Tesla right now. Back in, $1 in the money on the last piece. That's key for that trade right there, Tesla. Holding on for something to happen. Again, it's 337. It's only 20%. We used to hold on to 10. We're now holding on to 20. It's made a difference. Here it goes. It's Tesla trying to get back up to the upside.
Yeah, get up, Tesla, get up. Trump is not live that I know of. I just saw someone in the chat saying Trump is live somewhere. DJT is not moving, and I have not heard anything. If it did, I would be interested in some kind of a breakout, but I don't see anything. So
you know what?
We took one short in Google. We wanted it back up somewhere around here at that 161.5. It ended up curling at the 30s. It just broke out 40, so I'm out. That simple. Gonna hang on for now to Rivian, but I'm not gonna reload this. There was no follow through down into 14 even. It's 338. Unless it comes out the other side of this failing, then I'm not gonna reload it. Not into strength of the market. A little scalp trade there in GME. It's done now. Sometimes when you catch these things on the back end, they go all the way to the top. Other times, they kind of go halfway and stall out. So just essentially 2180. You take some out when it gets to the mid-90s. You take some out when it gets to 2210. And now I'm just getting out for a couple of pennies. It's not break even on it. It was more when the consolidation broke. So instead of just throwing your stop in, hey, I got in here, that's where I'm going to put my stop. No, the stock, when it made a high, consolidated to here, and it tried to go. If it didn't go, I said I was going to get out. It didn't go. I got out. So we'll hang on to Rivian and see what happens with that. I do want to still I'm going to keep an eye on Google just because I'm expecting it's that or Nvidia. Google had news. Nvidia is Nvidia. So when 350 hits, those are the two stocks I'm going to guess might have an imbalance. That's the best you can do. If you're not watching a stock for a trade, if an imbalance comes one way or the other, it's not as if you can really flip to it and then punch into position. It's not that doable because the algos are all over that trade. So I think you usually just pick something. Every day it's Nvidia and maybe one other stock for me. I'm going to pick Alphabet because it's the one that was moving the most this afternoon. One way or another, I feel like it's going to do something. There's been big drops at the end of the day, although a little bit different today given the way that we traded in the afternoon. Like you've seen some big moves right at the close. This is the last few minutes on Alphabet yesterday, kind of made a top and then fell. We'll see what happens here with imbalances in just about 10 minutes.
I cannot believe that we had done well, like we said on Nvidia, but it did come out right there at the end before eventually like it goes down to 33s. We get out at 50s and now it rips completely. These longs, man, congratulations everybody in the chat that was hitting these longs. We had based it out. We just got stopped out and that's fine. Like I said, we are very, very comfortable with what we've been doing today as the profit is still coming through. I do have an offer on Tesla though. 207.80s. That high rate there was 208, basically flat. It does get up to 208.13. Again, it's just about the imbalances. Out in 10 minutes. This has been a big, big day. And let's just top it off. If Tesla can come up here and fill us for this last $1.50, then we'll do that. It's $1 in the money right now, but here it comes right back in again. So hey, maybe these imbalances will be the other side. I don't know. This for me is well worth the risk. We are in the money now, 80 cents. We're going to wait for that. And if it comes all the way back, then we'll just get stopped out at the bottom, unfortunately. I'm going to wait for it. And we've just missed that top. It finally gave it to us. Now I have an out. Hopefully we can get that execution up there near 208. And if we don't, we don't. Yeah, this morning was good trading morning. And you have to, as a trader, take advantage of those mornings. So you are right, JI94 games there in the chat. I still have a bad tailbone. It's still bothering me. Okay. So
that's the kind of thing that lingers.
Yeah, that does linger very much. So it's been like a month or so, I feel like. All right, so Tesla, still on my mind. Nike, ARM. ARM's a name that we haven't looked at once. I don't think I haven't heard anybody talking about that today. 132 right now today. ARM up 6, and look at that, man. Come on. I mean, this is the thing. We got to be. That's my trade right there. Missed my own trade. Bouncing back strength, bouncing back into VWAP. Absolutely a dinger right there for ARM. That would have been fantastic. So that was definitely a missed opportunity again there. And this is the difference, right? Like I told you, not everybody's going to be green. And a lot of it is, are you around for opportunities? Did you see certain things? If you didn't, you might have missed it. It doesn't mean you're any less skilled traders. I mean, you see that all the time here. Doesn't mean anything. It's just you didn't execute properly or you missed the trade. That's why you come back. You come back the next day and you look for those opportunities again.
You never know, man. The best trade could be when you're up.
That's what I mean, yeah.
My best opportunity today, I actually think was in 5 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. It was longer than 5 minutes when I got up because I went to do my exercises for my Achilles. And that was the moment that I think I had my best opportunity today. And you never know. And I don't get off my desk a lot. So there's GameStop. I think it was the right decision to get it. It's not falling like a rock, but you can see it's accelerating to the downside here. And it was SMCI. It was 100% it was SMCI. And I'll show you why here. That kind of rhymed. Zoom it right in. Very plain to see. I was working it off of VWAP. It broke out. It broke out. I went for it a couple of times in there. Didn't continue. I was scalping it, but I was holding majority there. Like I was scalping a little out and holding more for up in like the 60s, mid 60s. Maybe it could have pressed into 70. Ultimately, it got to like 65 or so. Had to stop out for the trail. I only wanted it on strength, and then it did the move. I got up, then it did the move. There's your wick off VWAP. There's your higher low breakout. There's a possible retracement if you wanted to buy a dip, and then it was off to the races. And once it was top and reversing the trend, I feel like my trade was a little bit done at that particular point. But it is what it is. Like sometimes you're there, and you can get up for 20 minutes out of the day, and that could be the 20 minutes that count. You just never really know. At the open, it's easy because you're not going to get up at the open. You're going to sit in your desk from 9:30 to 10 o'clock. At least most traders do. And they don't usually take a break at that time because that's when there's a lot of that crazy whipsaw action. Like this stock went $40 at the open, straight up, if you're able to catch it.
Oh, man. All right. This Nvidia is really starting to go like, wow, on that one. And yeah, like Neil was saying there, We took a big win yesterday on SMCI, but again, I think it was our worst stock yesterday and is again here today. But that's what happens on those names. You take your shot, and I think I agree with Neil. On when it's moving, like we never trade SMCI, and now we traded in back-to-back days. So
I traded 6 times total.
Exactly.
Six trades, 6 days.
So absolutely.
That's
there.
it.
And now, yeah, and you're 4-2 or whatever.
Yeah,
There's nothing
4
wrong
and
with
2.
that. That's
and
good.
what's crazy about it is the 2 days that I would argue were the best to trade are the 2 that I'm down on. Like the days, and the funny thing, how I used to trade SMCI, all other 4 trades were exactly the same. It failed at top, the other chip names were coming down, and I shorted it VWAP. And it worked every time. And I did it like once, and a couple months later, it did it again. And then today, it was the same thing. I missed a trade that I wanted at the open and looked for a VWAP trade. And there's no questions asked. The open trade was the one to have on SMCI. And it evaporated to the upside. That stock is capable of a lot of things at the open.
I'm just going to, so I'm going to get out at 207.50. Tesla's bounced around there too many times. It's trying to bounce off the 50 period. This is definitely I don't want to say it's a rookie decision or anything like that. I'm just trying to, still have this big day. It's only 20% left. And it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I just want to keep making right decisions like we're saying, and I don't want to have the P&L affect anything. It just keeps on bouncing right there, and I don't want to be greedy about this. Like, I'm waiting for this just to really cap it off, but honestly, if we just keep on bouncing off here, I was waiting at 80, so oh my God, it just stopped again at 50s. I'm just at 50 on principle. Like, I feel like it should just blast up there and hit it. I don't think I have to sack. All right, went to 43 there and stopped. All right, 42s. One more push, 46s. 43s only printing here as we watch out for the tape right now, 40s. A lot of deep prints, but also a lot going off on the public market here. So we definitely like that move. Let's see if it gets going. Just one more run, man. And we're only 4 minutes. I might just tap out right now. We're only 4 minutes away right now from the imbalances. So honestly, I'm just, you put an offer here in the mid-30s, see if we get it now. Oh, come on. If we just missed that by 4 cents, then we did. But at the end of the day, here comes Tesla. Oh, no. Pushing right back in. This is what happens. Just cross over next time. All right, there it goes. Tesla coming back in. Again, the imbalances are just in 3 minutes. So, like, Tesla can come and sell. The next thing you know, whoops, all the way to the downside. So there we go. That's what you talk about all the time. We always talk about that, missing fills. And we just sat there waiting to add liquidity. So we'll get paid to sit here and offer and get out. So not only, oh, wow, so that's going to cost me 50 cents. To basically make very, very few on fees there, it's going to cost a lot. But there's the push down. At least we sort of had the sense to think about that. Just we did not execute it properly. Got a little greedy there waiting for just a couple extra pennies. And now it's going to cost us like 40. So we'll wait. Hopefully it comes back up. But with only 3 minutes to go, it's these imbalances right here. That is what's going to populate and change the game for us. So once that happens on the NASDAQ side, then this will all light up NSDQ. And we'll also have NYSE starting to light up there like it does for Bombardier right there. But no one cares.
Bombardier.
About Bombardier. All right, come on, Tesla. We'll just keep on watching it. We're in the 30s right now. Hopefully it comes back up and we get that fill. Then we won't feel so bad.
I think about one thing when you mentioned Bombardier, and it was a lesson that a trader on this floor learned very well. Put orders out in the market that you intend to take fills on, because if you don't want all of the shares that you put live, Bombardier and stocks that are that cheap are very capable of giving you every single share that you put out there. And I'll never forget the moment that happened for a trader, and he never did it again. So he's like, oh, well, one of these will fill, and it'll all auto-cancel the rest, and then he ended up with like 8x. But the imbalances are in 2 minutes. I'm looking at Nvidia and Google. I'm in Rivian, but it's not moving. Guys, I'm short 23s. It's at 16s, 17s. At this point, if you bust through break even, we just punch out of it. Rivian's like 99% chance it has no imbalance. I can't remember the last time it did. As a matter of fact, I think it happened once, and I think you guys were trading. I wasn't here the day that it did. I think you traded it at the close, but that was a while back. It doesn't matter. We're expecting big cap tech, so my guesses are Nvidia and potentially Google. If they have, I'm looking sell. I'm a little bit biased, and I think usually I want to have a direction so that if I see it, I can punch it, as opposed to having to hit a key twice. I'm looking for the sell side. If it comes out of sell imbalance, I want to try to catch the first part of a move on one of those 2 names. And we'll see what happens. I mean, 1 minute to go here. It could be absolutely nothing. Alfred Marquez, the imbalances. The closing auction, obviously, is at 4 o'clock. So they publish what the actual open interest is to everybody at 350, so long as you have access to the imbalance locator, which is in the market feed. And then you get to see what's the open interest in the closing auction, and then any imbalances if they had to print the stock in that moment, in that snapshot. There could be a buy imbalance or a sell imbalance, or it could be entirely paired off, and there's as many buys as sells at the given prices, and it would just print flat. Doesn't mean it's going to go up or it's going to go down, but it can be a bit of a guide and an opportunity to trade. That's all. That's why we look at it. If I'm in something, I want to make sure the imbalance doesn't wreck me, so I always have a stop order in.
Right, with only 15 seconds to go. Nvidia's coming in a lot, so I'm feeling like there could be a sell imbalance on Nvidia. As here it comes right now with only a couple seconds to go. We'll see what winds up happening here with NVDA. Maybe there's a buy, maybe there's a sell, maybe there is nothing. So there it is, it's 350. It looks like it's going to the upside right now. 118.30, 118.40.
1.1.
Yeah, AVGO's a buy there. There's NVIDIA 1.1. Oh. So we see that as a nice bid. So that's working out for us, or for anybody that bought that there. I know Neil was looking at it, looks over, okay, not long. Amazon, though, as well as a bid. Intel with a short, NVIDIA buy, Broadcom again with a buy. That was a name that we did not look at today, right? Broadcom coming back in right now for that trade. All right, come on, Tesla, maybe you can get back under the upside right there. We're going to get out at 25s if it does. Give it to us right there. Oh, we just missed it again on Tesla. That's a 50-period moving average. We're now underneath it on Tesla. It just went up to 27s there. I was not on that. I don't see Tesla on here. It looks like it wants to come.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah, it looks like it wants to come back in.
Nvidia's going down, by the way, so I don't know what the heck's up.
That's just not a big
It's not a big imbalance, so I've said this every single day except for today, and that's my bad. I keep saying most days, for Nvidia, you need like a couple of million shares, 3, 4. We've seen 6 in the last couple of weeks for an imbalance. 1 million is pretty small, so that's my bad. Every day, I know we have new viewers every single time. 1 million shares is a lot of shares in a general sense, but 1 million shares for the imbalance is not a heck of a lot. As you can see, Nvidia is just going down. So it tried to break 119. I mean, like the imbalances came out and it just headed to the downside. That 1 million doing absolutely nothing to the stock. There wasn't one on Alphabet, so there wasn't any kind of a trade here for me. I'm just gonna get out. Where's my bid? I think I'm bidding 11s on Rivian. All right, I'll just leave it in there. If it gets past 15, then we'll just get out of this. Like I said, Rivian's not gonna have an imbalance. It's not gonna make some kind of a spike. It's not the kind of stock that's gonna go haywire on you at the close unless news drops or something of that nature. So yeah, Google didn't bamboozle, I don't think. Bamboozling to me on a stock
is a ridiculous word.
No, like to me, if I get in and the trade is boring, I get in, it goes to my stop, I get out, and it keeps trending in the direction. So I was short. After I get out, it trends up. I think bamboozling would be if I get out here and it's down here 5 minutes later. Then I'd be bamboozled because then I got wicked out and then it came right back in. No, I got out when it broke here. I took my shot and it trended up after. So I don't see what else I'm doing with a short trade except losing that much. And with any luck, no less than that. But it continues to trend up. Bamboozlement always to me is when you get like the wick out. You know, like right at the moment that you get out is when the stock reverses. Like if you got stopped out of Rivian like here or something, and then you saw it tank. So I just took the 11s on Rivian. It'll end up failing VWAP, but not really following through a ton from 22 down into the 10s or 11s, whatever you happen to get. Freddie, the friendly guy, does this feel like 1999, 2000 all over again? I'd say no. There are so many things different each time you have these market cycles that I don't think it's easy to compare them to each other. Like we're going into them cutting rates while the S&P is at all-time highs. Is that anything like things were before? No, not really. The way that this is manifested post-COVID is different from pretty much everything else out there. So you got to be able to, adjust on the fly. And I know there's things like seasonality and history will rhyme and not always repeat itself, but you can't just say, hey, this is what happened in 2008, the last time we had a tech boom, and AI is going to be exactly the same thing. Everything is a little bit different. I keep hearing people always want to compare Nvidia to the last kind of bubble. Oh yeah, look at what happened to Cisco. Nvidia is not Cisco. I mean, there's a lot of things that are probably similar, but it's not exactly the same. We got about 1 minute until the imbalances are likely to pair off, but there weren't many. That's 355. Nvidia flipped and then went 4 million to the sell side, as did Apple. Seeing that a bit more, where you're getting changes in the imbalance that are significant before we get to 355. Not that I was ever acting on it. I usually wait till 355, There you go. It's a small buy imbalance, and then later comes into a sell. So I don't wonder if there might be a different approach to how we look at these imbalances, because after all, I kind of wrote it off, and then it was a 4 million sell imbalance. It just came late on Nvidia. I have to check back every 30 seconds or so after 350 instead of waiting for 355.
Here comes 355 right now. We did take advantage of that. I mean, there was no real advantage. We got out at 207 on Tesla. So just bouncing around, you're underneath the 50-period moving average. I was not, like I said, those imbalances that this, once again, does not send Tesla higher. So we get out of that name, and now we just wait. And it's a good thing we did, because there's 355, so there's the imbalances turning over again. Nvidia's going down to the downside. Big sell, Neil talked about that. There's Apple as well. We are out of that one. Wow, good sell for us on Apple today as well. Wow, nice move to the downside there for AAPL. The market is really, really bouncing and flying now. Yeah. Like Apple's down there. Nvidia was just getting clapped. Now it's all the way back up.
Paired it all off.
Boom, huge move back up. Tesla as well just went down into 206 flat right there. Like that would have been a nightmare for me to have that tick there. But instead we have that out. Good trading there on Tesla. BAC continues to work above the 50 period. We said that. Let's just add it right now, $40. We'll see if that works. Walmart again into everything. And it's really just Nvidia again. Big stocks today. The only names that we're going to be red on are Mara and Intel, the two names that we traded here in the afternoon. We tried to go long Mara with Bitcoin weakness, but Bitcoin does not hold 59.5. It's down to 59.2, so that's bad.
Before I head up to the desk, Dollar General is still as yet.
Neil's talking about Dollar General again. Thing is, with age, I've noticed, man, it's getting worse and worse, but we will get this all figured
Usually
out.
I go up to the desk already, but Dollar General is just flushing here. Look for maybe a potential SSR bounce again tomorrow. I tried it a couple times in there, short once, long once, but it is 31% to the downside. Oh, Canada, because Dollarama is at highs and Dollar General is at lows. So ours is doing absolutely fine. That tells you they got their own problems. We got Danielle Shea in the aftermarket show. Obviously, we've got Ulta Beauty, we've got Dell, we've got Lululemon, so it's going to be an exciting one. We'll have Danielle Shea give her ideas on what's going on with Nvidia and those earnings. But yeah, stick around. Good looks today, everybody. Enjoy the last couple of minutes of the day. It's been a good one, only 3 minutes left, but we do it all over again with the aftermarket show, and then again tomorrow to round out the week.
Good one.
So I'll see you guys in a couple.
Go watch Neil excels at the market recap show, and you will see that one more time here today. So get ready for that one. We had record viewers yesterday. So let's go today. Join us one more time tonight. So it'll be Neil at the big desk. I mean, Danielle will be fine. She'll talk all about Nvidia. And remember to ask your questions, get them in the chat. I'm sure they will be addressed. Look, man, down 6 and a bit percentage points. We talked about it earlier. We got out of some Nvidia during lunchtime. I wasn't super pleased with the movement. You'll always hate yourself for getting out, but I think this one is possible. You guys are saying like, hey, is it possible that we get these downside moves again? It is very possible. Nvidia lost from $135 down to $90 in about 20 days. So Nvidia already showed you that it can lose 45% in a flash. So you could be down into here tomorrow, 105 and change, and then all of a sudden, you're down 20% in bear market right now for Nvidia. Who would phone me right now at 358? Oh, I actually know who this is. I'm actually supposed to take this. Hold on a second. Hello? Yeah, this is Sean. Can you call me back in like 3 minutes? I'm actually just on the air right now. At this number. Okay, ciao. All right, there it is. What's up? All right, it's actually a reference for a past trader, so I have to take it right there. And I'm very proud to announce a past trader of ours got a job at UBS, so we're very, very proud of that. And of course, some reason use me as a reference, you know. So hopefully I'll give a good one. Hopefully they'll be able to phone back. I did miss it last time, so there it goes right there. I'm multitasking, but I had to take that call because I did not want to miss it. And not give the reference. So, all right, Nvidia, nice move back in one more time here. 117.70 coming through. 1 minute till the U.S. market closes. Good job getting out of Tesla. Oh boy, did we hit the TQQs today, and another good trading day for that. It's funny that the NASDAQ will finish out flat on the day, but that is what it is right now for the TQQ. So $66 coming in on the NASDAQ. We'll look to play that tomorrow. There is always tomorrow, but after tomorrow, there is not a Monday because Monday is a holiday. There would be no trading for us on Monday. And Marissa was like, you have Monday off? I was like, what? It caught me off guard, but we do have Monday off. Labor Day, well-deserved for everybody. I mean, I'll be happy to have it off. We have some family plans, but always wishing to be in front of the screens with all of you, especially after a day like today. What a great day it was. Hey, Adair, what's up? All right, here we go with only now 14, 13, 12, 11, and now I hit the countdown. It is now 10 seconds ago. Hey, Ramin, how's it going? 7, 6, 5. Traders are staying late at 4 o'clock with Neil. Ring the bell. All righty then. Thank you so much for everybody for watching. It's going to be a big day. It's going to be a big show coming through right now. We've got a boatload of earnings. Watch out for Lululemon. My family did their part, spending about $50 there today. Let's see if that helps. It probably will not. Let's go back over and find out immediately. Thank you to Adara, Neil, Sharif, Fabian, Brendan from his reporting at Jackson Hole. Thank you so much to Ramin. I think I said everybody at Bears vs. Bulls, and more importantly, all of you. All right, it's 4 o'clock. I can already see, I think some earnings are starting to come through. So let's go back over to the desk and see what's popping off. It's Neil and Danielle Shea. It's the Market Recap Show. Ciao, everybody.
Thank you very much, Sean. We got our market recap show locked and loaded, ready to go. The first one we're expecting is Autodesk. I mean, Dell's 405. Lulu we're expecting at 405. Autodesk is not moving, and they're a smaller fry. Here's a look at Dell. It was down very, very slightly today, about 0.5%. No movement just yet. As I said, it's going to be 405 when we get those. I've got Benzinga. It's definitely looking a lot better in here today. Don't have to worry about it hopefully crashing on me. So that's not moving. We got Lulu. Look, Lulu, I don't see it out yet. But as usual, there's some price action going in here. So Lulu's expected at 405, and the expected move is 10% on them. It's 11.5 on Dell, so you could see some fireworks on Lululemon, mostly because of where this thing has come from. It's come from way, way down on that daily chart. The other one at 405 that we are expecting is Marvell. And I already see Marvell starting to move. Again, no numbers on them just yet, but Marvell is starting to make some power moves. Ulta Beauty's at 405. Marvell's moving, no numbers. If anybody's trading in the aftermarket, good luck. I think it's dangerous as always, but if the earnings aren't even out yet, you're essentially just trading blind. And I think it's very, very dangerous to do so if that's what's happening. Ulta not moving. Ulta Beauty not doing anything just yet. So we've got to be very, very patient looking for some of those earnings. It was a wild day in the market where basically almost everything was looking super strong. When you look over at things, I mean, until we get some earnings out here, yeah, SMH was down. You blame it all on Nvidia. Everything was so incredibly strong, and Nvidia to the downside dragged SMH down there with it. There was some strength over in the Chinese names. That's fantastic for K-Web. So now all of a sudden we've got Autodesk. And now there we go. There's Autodesk to the upside, up about $12 here. So here comes. They've beaten 215 versus 2 for Autodesk on EPS. Sales, a small beat, 1.5 billion versus 1.48. That looks pretty solid. Beating on the top and the bottom. I don't see anything with regards to guidance just yet for Autodesk. So hey, the bulls are 1 for 1. That's not too bad. They were a little bit late. They're supposed to come at exactly 4 o'clock. But hey, if you go upside, people aren't going to complain about the timing of it. So you're right back into 268 here. So a little bit of a pop, not a huge one. We were only expecting a move of 5.5%. The options market was pricing in 5.5% on Autodesk, and now you have it up 5.5%. So I guess you're getting pretty much exactly what we were expecting on that move. Good, but not fantastic, and still not seeing any guidance when it comes to Autodesk. I just see the top and the bottom line. Always be careful. Again, if you're trading in earnings, you want that guide. When Nvidia came out yesterday, it took minutes before we actually had any guidance numbers. They said all these great things, and then it was like you saw the margin number a little bit later, you saw the guide a little bit later, and sometimes you'll get a bit of a delayed reaction. So don't trade blind. We got you locked and loaded right here to make sure that we got everything that you will want. Alta Beauty. I want Alta to the upside. We like Alta. It's moving, but the earnings aren't even out yet. You're already up a couple of points here on Alta. I see a few people talking about it. Yes, you're getting moves in Alta. Yes, you're getting a move over in Marvell. But the earnings have not dropped. All we've got is Autodesk, and the big ones are still waiting for that 405 moment. So with another minute to go, I do want to acknowledge a couple of other things in the sectors. It was a very, very strong day for XLE. I'm going to get this in as fast as possible because energy is having a decent moment bouncing off of some recent lows. I think the next leg up after this consolidation will be fantastic. I own the wrong one. I'll be the first to admit it. I've been buying dips in Oxy and CVX. I'm wishing I'd done like Randy said, which was to buy an XOM. Up is good. Up more is always better. But good day here for energy after it's been in a bit of a downward trend here, that XLE. So it's almost 405. Autodesk starting to see, now they've got, where is this guidance? The guidance is now coming out there for Autodesk. Let's see if I can get that for you. They are guiding full year 8.1 versus 8.12. So pretty much in line on Autodesk. I think that's a bit of a nothing burger. But 405 just hit everybody. And we're now waiting for Dell is the big one. Dell, Lululemon, Marvell, and Alta Beauty. All four of these should be coming out any minute now. And that's what we want to see. Dell just spiked down, then up. Still trying to decide what's going on here. And there is no earnings numbers out for me just yet. Clearly, the numbers should be out the way that it's behaving here. You just had a $4 drop. And then it regained $6 to the upside almost instantaneously. And now you're starting to carry through on Dell. I have numbers for Alta Beauty. They've missed $5.3 on EPS when the estimates were 5.5. And they've missed on sales as well for Alta Beauty. So Alta Beauty is taking it on the chin, down 3 points here. So they miss on the top and bottom lines on Alta. Not a good look for them. The first one to actually drop it into the downside, unfortunately. Lulu. Can we hit the abject fail? Lululemon down 7% already. They have an EPS beat 315 versus 2.94. Sales miss 2.37 versus 2.4. It doesn't matter that you beat on EPS because what is dead can apparently still die. I was saving that line in Game of Thrones. If Lulu went up, I'd be like, what is dead cannot die? No, Lulu can keep on going to the downside. Yay, Lululemon. Apparently stretchy pants aren't good enough anymore. On the daily chart, it's right back into where it was on the 14th, which was trying to break out at 245. Now you're down to 245. Jay Lee in the chat, Lulu is a lemon. I like that. That's even better. Lulu is a lemon. You're absolutely right about that when it's not looking good. Dell's numbers are finally out, at least I'm seeing them. They got a beat on Dell, 1.89 versus 1.71 for the EPS. You've got a beat on sales, 25 billion versus 24.14 billion. So good beat on top line, good beat on the bottom line. I have not seen the guidance yet for Dell. You got Dell up only a couple of points. I hate to tell you, we were expecting 11.5% on Dell was the expected move. It moved 18% last time. You beat top and bottom, and they're pretty solid beats, and the reaction is not what you want to see. You want to see close to double digits when you're beaten like this. It just feels exactly like that muted reaction to Nvidia. At least it's up in this particular case, but I'm not liking what I see from Dell. A lot of people have been saying this with SMCI to the downside and getting absolutely hammered, that maybe Dell was going to be a little bit tricky, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. So I still don't have any, once we get the guidance, I'll let you guys know. But year over year, I guess like 8.6% increase year over year, and its quarterly sales are looking pretty good. There's still no guidance out on Dell. That's going to be the key. I got to imagine if the guide is good, it should be a heck of a lot better than just a 4% move. Otherwise, we should be disappointed in this. We got Lulu out, we've got Alta out, we've got Dell out. I still haven't seen the numbers for Marvell. It's clinging to the upside here. Now, there we go. All you got to do is say the name Marvell, and then we get the numbers on them. So Marvell, EPS of 0.3, in line exactly. Sales beat for Marvell, 1.27 billion versus 1.25. So a slight beat here for Marvell. Not bad, but that might not cut it. It's up 7%. That's fantastic. You're seeing it move to the upside, but it was already up here before the numbers came out. They were buying up Marvell. Now, that's a good look for them because I was really scared that this would be the kind of name after what we saw with Nvidia that could take it on the chin. Instead, it's trying to break out here. I do like that look. So here is an update for everybody. So Lulu's guidance, let's try to brace ourselves for this because it could be nasty. Lulu sees full year 24 guidance, EPS, $13.95 to $14.15 versus 14 estimate. That's actually better. Their revenue guide is going to be lower. So the revenue guide, 10.37 billion to 10.47 versus expectations in the 10.6 range. So the guidance on revenue bad, the guidance on EPS actually good. But overall, Lululemon, it doesn't matter whether you're good or bad earnings. The daily chart stinks. The intraday chart stinks. And if people don't want to buy the stock, it doesn't matter what the numbers on the balance sheet say. It doesn't matter when you pull up FinViz or whatever you're looking at, or Benzing in my case here, to look at your fundamentals. None of that matters if there's nobody on the bid and if there's nobody that believes in the future growth of the company. Trust me, we've all been there before. So Lulu looking pretty nasty for that downside so far. Dell, I don't know if I trust that wick pulling back in, but it's right back at the high. So 116 up at that top. And it's looking solid, but I want to say unspectacular move. This feels a lot like Nvidia. Like, yeah, you're moving a bit here, but Nvidia ended up settling much less than the double digits that we expected, even if it was down. And then even today with the fall, still less than what we expected. And you're seeing exactly the same thing here with Dell. Yeah, it's good. I haven't seen anything that comes out bad. I'm still waiting for any guidance from Dell. I still only see the top and bottom lines here, and we're not getting any guidance. Now Dell's starting to go. Maybe the guidance is going to come out in a couple of seconds here. Just got to 118 and starting to trend a little bit higher. Still waiting on any guide, but I like to see it go up, get higher, get higher, get higher. That's what we want to see for you, Dell. I mean, these are the big names that we wanted to pay attention to. But as Dell runs higher, until we get those earnings, I did want to go over what could be happening in Dell tomorrow. I mean, we never really, I don't know what's going to happen in Dell tomorrow because a lot of things can happen overnight and you're not trading in the same range as you were. But if we look at what happened with Nvidia, and we can go over things like this because it matters. And I know Nvidia is not reporting tonight, but let's be real. Nvidia, if you look at the way that this traded here today, there was the aftermarket range. Maybe that's the 3 minutes. There we go. A little bit easier to see. If you look at the way that this traded in the aftermarket, so there's your whipsaw crazy action. Look at where it settled down. Remember, we're looking at that level 2. The buyers that would stack the bid would start it at 20 and would stop at about 23. They were getting filled on the bid, but they stopped there. So the real range until later was 120 to 123. Well, what happened for the morning? There's your top, there's your bottom. And then the only big move is when you lost the bottom at the end of the day. So I'm not telling you that, 100% of the time, where Dell settles down after this opening rush is going to be exactly where you want to trade it tomorrow. It could gap above, it could gap below. But I love what we had Ryan Falloon on from Benzing. I love what he said. And he simply said, it's a trading setup. If a stock settles down in the aftermarket in a distinct range, and then it spends the pre-market inside of that range, and then it spends a decent part of the opening rush in that range, then you want to trade that range or trade the break away from it, especially the break away from it. That's what he was looking at for Chewy. It's why he was looking long at 27 when Sean and I were looking long at 28. Ultimately, doesn't matter. Went to 29 and 30, everybody won long on that trade. But 27 is better than 28. 100p. I'd rather have a 10% move than a 6% move in my P&L. And that's what you got to be able to learn from. We're trading off some of that stuff this morning as well, looking for that range. So I want to see where we're going to settle down here on Dell. Looks like we have MongoDB out. So I'm going to jump over. I know we're going to have Daniel Shea on a little bit, but we still have some earnings to chew through as we do have MDB out. Mongo to the upside pretty significantly. We got 19% up here on MDB. They've beaten on revenue. That's a big beat. 493. Oh, sorry. No, this is the guidance. 493 to 497 versus 478. EPS guidance 65 to 68 range versus 60 cents. Those are big beats. It's about 10 to 15% on that EPS of a beat. So strong numbers for MDB out here. You gotta love a good guide when you have markets like these where you're top side. So it was better than expected on top and bottom, and a very, very strong guide. Jay Lee, MDB was an amazing buy under 30 bucks in December 17. You're sad you sold it around 50. You know what? Did you make money? 30 to 50, you made money. We've all been there. We've all sold things too early, but at the end of the day, it's always a good learning experience that buy and hold can rule out. But look at the stock. This hasn't been, you'll never pick tops. Sometimes you pick tops and you get really lucky. But this was $500 down to $200. What I love about this, though, and why it's worth watching tomorrow, maybe you trade MDB, maybe you don't. But why it's interesting to me is as simple as this. Look at this local high after getting dumped in June. That's 270. You are gapping that level. You're gapping above that 270 level up at 280. If it can hold on to those gains, we're talking consolidation with a whole lot of room to run. Maybe tomorrow, it's the end of the week. Sometimes option expirations can kind of muck things up and you got to wait till next week when things calm down. But I'm looking at continuation on this. If I see a breakout like that, I'm only looking long above 270, 272 on something like MDB. 6% short float on a $20 billion company, sign me up when it starts breaking out new levels. It's that simple. Okay, so maybe the 200-period moving average is a ways away, but it held a 50 and it's breaking out, and a ways away just means a bigger gap to fill. And the bigger the gap there is to fill, the more potential there is for a good trade to carry, and then you can hold it, and then you can stack a little bit of that cash. So good luck for MDB. We're going to have Danielle Shea on in just a little bit, but that does it for earnings. If you're wondering, you can kind of sum it up like this. Lulu's a lemon, but it actually bounced. See? Sometimes you can have a lemon, but it can be a little bit reliable. It can still run. But the problem with a lemon is it tricks you. You go to start it up, it catches, and all of a sudden you're driving down the middle of the road in the middle of nowhere and your lemon craps out. That's the problem with these bad stocks when they bounce a little bit, is they just pull you in thinking everything's okay. Lulu just found a bit of a bottom here. It's going to the upside. But then every single time that's happened on this daily chart, it's been nastiness. Maybe no one should buy this thing until it gets back above the 50-period moving average. Maybe I should have waited for that to be true. Clearly that's obvious at this particular point. So not a great look. Just a couple of things hitting the wire. Looks like Lamb increased their dividend by about 15%. I don't know if that's going to move LRCX. It's a good company. I actually like Lamb quite a bit. I don't own them. I mean, I've owned them in the past. I've owned AMAT in the past. I never really hung on to them. I now own ASML. I just kind of like them a little bit more. But Lamb increasing their dividend, yeah, it's not moving. No move whatsoever on LRCX. Fabian, you let me know when we have it. We are ready. So excitingly waiting for this moment because we always wait around for the Super Bowl of earnings, which was Nvidia. Now all the big names have mostly reported. Big cap tech has all come through. So this is the perfect time, especially going into a Friday with options expirations, to talk to is Danielle Shea. Danielle, it is wonderful to see you again. I feel like we say this every single time, but these markets do not stop. Volatility is here. Volatility is back. And we might have been disappointed with Nvidia in terms of the percentage move, but it did a lot of vol, and there was that move at the end of the day, which was absolutely humongous. We've had a few hiccups. Lululemon, yay. I own shares of Lululemon, and they stink. But certainly Dell looking pretty good, MDB looking pretty good, Mongo looking pretty good here. How was your trading day and week? And is there anything that's catching your eye right off the bat?
Oh, it's been great. And I'm ready for September and October volatility because you know what? That is typically what these months bring. And then after that, we generally get some pretty positive seasonality November, December, January. So I'm looking forward to it. Bring it on.
That's what it's all about, right? I mean, seasonality, I feel just on the day trading side of it, August used to be a month that traders would famously take off. And then they turned into like February, ended up being that month. Everyone always likes to take weeks off in November around, Black Friday and everything. But this August has been completely different. Any trader that took off this August, it's been a colossal mistake the way this market has been moving. No question about it. So I love the seasonality aspect of it. I think that means good things for going into this election. But you got to tell us what's up with Nvidia here. Like they beat. I think everyone knew they were going to beat. They always beat. They beat top and bottom. There was a 50 billion buyback. The guidance was strong. I mean, the data, everything was good about it. There was a hiccup with the margins, but the market decided that this wasn't good enough. And we're losing the 50-period moving average here. And it's not just any level. I mean, this whole entire area, 117 to 120, has been pretty significant, Danielle. So should we be concerned with Nvidia?
When you look at Nvidia, this is exactly what we talked about last week. The fact of the matter is that, yes, they have been crushing it, but that's why expectations were so high. And so when you have a company that has exploded the way that it has this year, and especially this month, I mean, they needed to absolutely crush earnings. Yes, they beat, and yes, things were good, but they just weren't at the same level that they have been in the past. If you look at the way that it's moved in the past, I mean, last quarter, 7.5% gap up, major run after that. But of course, that also had a little bit to do with the split there. Quarter before that, it was up 11%. You had a 6% quarter, a 26% quarter, a 12% quarter. So when you have so many quarters like that in a row where a stock explodes, you're going to see this when their growth slows down slightly. So yes, I do think we should be concerned to an extent, especially because it's breaking through the 50 simple on the daily chart. We do have support zones between 100 and 110. But I mean, I'm still holding it. It's still a long-term holding for me. And I'm not surprised about the volatility here.
Yeah, there you go. And to your point about what we used to see with Nvidia, I'll tell an anecdotal story. Last year in the summer, I was in Paris with my wife, and we're having dinner, and I didn't check the markets one time. I was very proud of myself. I didn't check the markets one time, and so we're at dinner, and of course you're on a patio. It's gorgeous, and all of a sudden I'm checking my phone, and I'm like getting really, really excited. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nvidia just came out. They're flying to the upside. That was a huge beat." And I promise you, Brendan, who's on vacation, probably doesn't even care when it doesn't move more than double digits. So you're right, expectations matter. I'm with you in not being concerned about it long term, but is there a short trade here underneath that 50 period? Is there some kind of let it settle down, and if we don't regain, I'm thinking if we can't get back above this 120 area, there's some room for it to pull back. When we've got that capitulation Monday bottom, I don't know what to call that day. We'll call it the carry trade bottom. Down around those low 90s. There's a place that we can get to. Is there a trade that you might be looking for once things settle down that could be looking for some shorts at all?
Oh yeah. I mean, I definitely think there's a short trade here. I mean, when you have a company like this and it falls after earnings, typically what I look for is to short ones that fall greater than the expected move. So the expected move in the options market was $14. Today it was down 8. So I mean, it doesn't really fit that criteria. That's really the only reason why I'm not, hands down short it. But the reason why I do think you could probably make money on the short side is because of those critical support breaks. So if you look at the chart here, I mean, anytime you have a stock breaking through a 50 simple on a daily chart, a 100 simple on a daily chart, or a 200 simple on a daily chart, those are typically really good spots to put shorts on because it's just a trigger. So, I mean, I think you could at least try to trade it down into 110 as a swing trade because that's where you have that next support zone. You have some Fibonacci support there. You have a 100 simple there. $7 of downside, I think it would probably make sense for it to keep falling. But I mean, with an earnings move like this, you generally want to wait until the next day just because, a 1-day move where it's within the expected range isn't that big of a deal. But the second day after that is where you see that follow through. So you're either going to see buyers coming in tomorrow, or if it breaks the lows from today, that would be the spot where I would say, okay, now I'm shorting it.
There you go. Thank you very much for that, Daniel. You always want to have a bit of a plan of action. You don't have to force anything, but it's good to have a plan. Before I got a couple more things I want to ask you, but just for everyone in the chat, I threw Margavel's guidance that finally came out. It took them a while to get it. And then Lunar, LUNR, Intuitive Machines did just get a NASA contract for 117. So it's moving around. I mean, it's up 18%. So for everyone that was putting it in the chat, they got a NASA contract of $117 million to deliver 6 science and technology payloads to the moon. So good for Lunar there. I have to ask you about this, Danielle, and one of my favorite things about having you on the show and essentially getting fresh opinions on these is I know I can ask you about it. You just give an honest opinion. You're not going to tell me what I want to hear. I say this every single time. So I will cop to have started a long position in Lululemon too early, and it's still trending to the downside. The weekly chart is atrocious on this stock. They just reported, the good news is it's down 2% when the expected move was 10. And it did a little bit of a bounce here, but there's nothing good about this weekly chart. And if you put up the daily chart, like sometimes, like I'll think, oh yeah, one's worse than the other. Like the daily chart looks in some ways even worse because it's just screaming at me that all you need is for this to break the 50-period moving average. And why get in until it does it? So you did the death cross. This is one of the few times that a death cross was actually a gorgeous entry into the stock. It doesn't always hold true. What would you do with something like this, if anything? Do you even see a trade that is in the short?
So, I have to say I disagree with you on Lulu being a long because I just feel like the high inflationary environment, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm looking for deals everywhere I go, and I'm not buying these expensive yoga pants right now. So, you have that. And then you also have the fact that, like you said, it's in a long-term downtrend. I do agree with you that if it broke the 50 simple and it started to reverse, then yes, that's something that would cause me to change my opinion on the stock. Or, for example, one way that I will get into tickers like this is if they start doing well surrounding earnings, but you have to have a positive earnings move plus that break of resistance. So for me, until it gets through the 50 simple and it closes above it and it continues above it, I just can't buy it. So I think that this one's a continued short. I think that, if you look at the overnight data where you can see how it's moving after earnings, I mean, it is pretty much flat right now, but I would still short it on a swing basis just because, if you have an earnings report come out and that earnings report isn't enough of a catalyst to get that stock moving up through resistance, it's like, well, what's the catalyst going to be?
Exactly.
So,
I look at it feeling you'd say that. I'll be the first person to admit I think I got it in too early. Sometimes I got way too technical with it. I simply looked on the weekly at the 2022 lows that held, which was also where it broke out at COVID right in here. It's like it broke this. And when I was up around there, I'm like, I'm just gonna buy it in front of that support level and this higher low in here that was about $200. If it loses that, I never buy it again. If it bounces off that, I'll look to add to the position and build a long-term off of that range, thinking it's not going back to its COVID lows. But what I didn't do is wait for it to get into a support level and do something that indicates a reversal of trend. It's one thing to just put a bid out there, and I'll just put a bid out there if we're talking about Microsoft. But you don't do that with Lululemon. And for the record, I'm cheap in a general sense. I've never bought Lululemon. I ain't about that. I don't buy expensive shoes. I guess wear comfortable stuff. Every now and then my wife buys me something nice, but I'm very, very simplistic. Like there's things that I'll spend on, and usually it's like experiences more than it is like I'm not about designer this or designer that. So I'm not even somebody that's all over Lululemon. And some people are like that. They like to buy the things they use, but I'm not an Apple user and I love Apple stock. I don't own a Tesla and I like Tesla. I just find I just care what other people are obsessed with, and that's where I go, because if I bought the stuff that I like, Danielle, I'd be bankrupt because no one's interested. No, seriously, man. Like, it's just anything that's going to space. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. Let's just buy a bunch of space stocks that are going to zero. So what I tend to think is cool is not what anyone else thinks is cool. So I do not invest that way. Danielle, we only have a couple of minutes to go here. I want to make sure if you've got any thoughts, any other ideas, and we're wrapping up earnings season, obviously, and going, as you said, to a potential nice cyclical area. But is there anything else that you want to leave the viewers with that's some ideas you might have or a stock that's on your eye?
Well, I don't think I answered your question on Lunar. You pointed that one out to me, and I have never heard of this name before, so I can't say I'm familiar with what they do. But I did just check the short float on it, and the short float is almost 20%. So one thing that I have been doing recently, especially with a lot of these stocks that have been kind of clobbered, and it's something I did with Chewy this week for earnings, is when you have a company that has high short float and it's coming up, and getting close to those previous highs, and it has an earnings report, that's something that you can watch to trade for a short squeeze. So, with this one, it had the earnings report and yeah, they lost money, but you started seeing some high volume buying coming in after that. And as you see it coming up, and getting close to breaching those previous resistance levels, those are the spots where, you can try to do a short squeeze. So I traded Peloton this week for a short squeeze. I traded Chewy. And, I would just tell the viewers to look out for some of these stocks that, I'm not saying that Chewy or Peloton is ever going to be back to where they were in 2020, right? I'm just saying, hey, these stocks have gotten destroyed. They're on the lows. If they have some sort of good news and they have that short float, it can provide especially a day trading opportunity. So keep an eye out for those names.
Yeah, that's a great look on Lunar. And just from a semi-fundamental standpoint, that contract of 117 million, these guys do 300. Yeah, their market cap's 300. Their sales are actually 158 million in sales. They just got a NASA contract to deliver 6 payloads over for 117. The press release I'm looking at doesn't tell you how long. I hate when they do this. It doesn't tell you how long that 117 million is over. It could be over 10 years, which is obviously not as significant. If they get in that 117 in 1 year, that's a third of their market cap, and that would be significant. That's the kind of thing short sellers might be concerned about. So that's a great look. Thank you. I didn't even remember that you hadn't answered that, and yet you come with the fire every single time. Danielle Shea, tell everybody where they can find you once again, because I think we're going to have a lot of viewers that love having you on and might want to have some questions that we didn't get to.
Find me on X or find me on YouTube at Trader Danielle, and I'll definitely get back to your questions.
Thank you very much. That's Trader Danielle. Danielle Shea, one of our favorite guests out here. We'll see you again next week. Always fun having you on, especially when we're after Nvidia earnings, which is like the Super Bowl of earnings. So thank you very much, Danielle.
Thank you.
Ooh. Oh, what? You can't do that, Fabian. We've been over this. I am not that kind of professional where you can just switch the cameras on me from camera 1, camera 2. Oh, wow, that's actually, the funny thing is when I was doing that, it was the wrong way around. That's actually camera 1 and this is camera 2. Now you're just messing with me, Fabian. Okay, we got to get to the roll call here. Let's just stay focused. We got to try to get to the roll call in here. So yes, I saw it in the chat and it's a good point. I could easily get out of Lululemon. No question about it. I don't like selling or buying anything the day of earnings or the day after. I like to have things calm down. And I will make a decision probably early next week whether I want to get out of it. I think it's a smart thing to do. I know I got into it. That's what it's all about. Acknowledging mistakes. In trading, it's okay to be wrong, not okay to stay wrong. You know what time it is. This is that time where we show appreciation to you, our trading community. We're going to drop some roll call for you, but I'm going to start it off the same way I always do. I want to thank not just Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator in the planet. I don't want to just thank Fabian and Ramin making us look and sound good. I don't want to just thank Adara and Sean and Brennan, who's not here, and Sharif, the entire Trader TV Live team. I want to thank the entire Real Trading team, including Brankles and Wayne on the ones and twos over there training everybody and guiding our traders out there. We had Patty Ice doing a fantastic job trading today. It's been a good month, man. And I just did the settlements. There's Obi right here. He's still putting in that work. You don't get that work That's what Obi does, and he'll be the first trader. I promise you this, when I come in tomorrow, Adair is the first one in, I'm the second one in, Obi's the third. That's how he rolls. So let's get that roll call going, everybody. We've got Hey Davis in the chat. Yeah, I got to thank Randy as well. Shout out to Randy, the entire team here. It's all such a fantastic bunch. Andrew Chow, Bears versus Bulls, Seth, 4Zao, I should say. Martin Testa, Derek Thompson, Pickle Monster, Milky Fade. I like the fade. I try to keep a good one myself every single time I can. Hans Beer, Jeff Bristol, Honcho Trades, Sinful Davy, Mary S. Lyman. Ooh. Frankie Lyman, underrated musician back in the day. Smooth 1J, Rocco Trader, Yannick Patel, Spark Shop, I should say. I don't want to shout out Nightbot, but why not? Seth, Andrew Chow again. We got Char, we got Darwin in the house with the diamond hands and a little bit of what looks like some disco dancing, Darwin? Is that what it is? We got the Piper, we got Stacks, we got Dan H, we got TV, Jeremy Newman, Nomer, Daniel, thank you. It's a great show every single day. That's why we try to do it for you guys. We got Donkey Trader, Fat Figure, David Moore, Rohit, Honcho Trades, Yannick again, Sam Gray, May Ministry, Holla, 2K1, much love to you, Eli7721, what up, Ibad, Ula Khan, Joseph F. We got again GDE, Del Core. I think I messed that one up. Gulam in the chat. Neil, you can spell it any way you want. If you're my namesake, it's all good. Blue Arrow, Dan, Raul. We got Happy Zombie. Okay, we have to wrap it up. And my driver's probably waiting outside for me right now. But thank you guys so much. It's been an absolute blast. But you know what? I say it every single time. The best thing about this is we get to do it all again tomorrow. I mean, Nvidia's going to move. MDB's going to move. It's going to squeeze. We got Lululemon probably going to dump. We got a lot of things moving. We got a lot of things to trade. And we're going to be right here for you like we are every single day. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, and come right back here at 8:30 in the morning, and we'll do it all over again, and we're going to have some fun doing it and make some money doing it. That's what it's all about at Trader TV Live. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Nice. I love those shots, Fabian.